Rock Radio 91.5 is looking for nonprofit organizations or a radio station. If you're looking to get the word out, contact us at community@wmhw.org. Then we can get your message out to the people all over Mid-Michigan. Please give us a 30-day notice in regards to your event so we can promptly get the word out about your event. Just remember community@wmhw.org from your friends at More Rock Radio 91.5. WMHW Mount Pleasant HD1 and HD2, More Rock Radio 91.5, a service of Central Michigan University School of Broadcast and Cinematic Arts. Jim Costa, Brad Tunney, Chip Chat on 91.5.
Swing and a drive into deep left field, way back, and Miguel Cabrera has hit it out. It's gone.
This offense is absolutely lethal.
Mario Mpemba, Jim Costa, and Brad Tunney, and this is Chip Chat. The offense is unstoppable for the Tigers, and you got the Tigers winning today 8-5, 6-0 now on the season. The Great Lakes Loons back in action. They finally start their season. Our good pal Chris Foster is getting to call a game out there, and I'm sure we'll be with him throughout the summer. But the Loons play, and they win 5-1, get their first game in, and ho-hum CMU baseball they're now 10-2 in the MAC. They won today 3-1 over Eastern Michigan. There's baseball everywhere you look right now, Brad. At every level, baseball is king in Mid-Michigan.
Well, you got to feel bad for all the baseballs out there, right? They're getting absolutely crushed all over the field. The CMU baseball has 3 runs scored today, and when I wasn't able to listen to or watch the game at all today, and I asked you what the final I was underwhelmed. They had scored, almost 40 runs in the first 2 games of the series, and then the Tigers as well. Great offense to start the season, one of the hottest starts in all of baseball right now. They lead the major leagues in runs scored and batting average. They, as Rod Allen says right there on the call for FSD, absolutely lethal to start the season.
Jordan Spieth, Masters champion. He killed it wire to wire.
You won a Masters yet, Jim?
I have not, no. So
disappointing life you've lived.
Yeah, he's better than me. And we'll also talk about the Red Wings, who now know who they're playing in the first round. They're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we want to hear from you throughout the show. Who wins the series and in how many games? You can get in touch with us, as always, 989-774-3691, or use the hashtag ChipChat. And then the other big question, Tigers are 6-0. What's the biggest reason? Yeah, they've got great pitching. What is the number one reason this team is 6-0 right now? We want to hear from you. Give us a call. Send us a tweet, and we'll read those throughout the show.
Well, I think there's a lot of answers so far that you can look at. We're going to open the show today with the Tigers, and we'll get into the Red Wings playoff matchup with the Tampa Bay Lightning coming up in the second half of this hour. But, I mean, the Red Wings, or the Tigers are king right now. Locally, they're always king. When you start this hot, you get a 6-0 start. Everybody likes offense, especially in this day and age where offense is very, very down in the major leagues. The Tigers are kind of that opposing figure there where they're scoring a lot of runs, and they're leading the MLB in runs scored. How about this, Jim? Of the 5 players that are atop the major leagues in batting average so far this season, 4 of them are Tigers. The top 4 hitters in all of baseball are Tigers. It's not going to continue to be this way. You can't have 4 guys hit over 400 for an entire season. But, I mean, I know the discussion has been brought up, and I almost want to start with it right now, but 1,000 runs for this baseball team. It hasn't been done in, 16 years since the Indians in 1999, but it was something that I thought about, and we've seen now continuing to come along on social media, starting to gain a little bit of traction. That's the big question for me. Is this a team that potentially could score 1,000 runs? And I know that's an abstract thought, but can this team be put in the discussion 6 games in?
The easy answer is no, right? 1,000 runs is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It's a 6-run-per-game pace, and like you said, the last team to do it was the 99 Indians, and they're one of the greatest offenses in the history of baseball.
Fill us in on who was on that team, because it was unbelievable.
Well, it's like a juggernaut. It's like a who's who. Roberto Alomar, Manny, Jim Tomei, all those guys had 100-plus runs scored. That's 5 guys getting you over halfway to 1,000.
Manny Ramirez, I know
he drove in like 160 runs that year.
Yeah, 165 RBI. Most people thought his prime came with the Red Sox. He was 27, and he was lighting up the major leagues in 99. He kind of took a back seat to Sosa and McGuire that year, but, I mean, he had like 45 home runs, 160 guys in that lineup. that hit over 300.
You want to know a great fact about that 99 team?
What's that?
They were only shut out 3 times the entire season.
God.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. And to give you another idea, 1,000 runs is only brought up early in the
It's
year.
stupid.
And it's like nearly impossible to do. The Tigers last year were shy of 800. Nobody in baseball was over 800 last year. Tigers were in second with 757 runs scored. More runs scored than last season. No, the answer is no right away, and it's because of what you talked about. They've got guys hitting 500 right now, so when they do come down 200 points, they won't be scoring right now what they are, which is nearly 8 runs a game. So they'll come down. I mean, they're going to be the best offense in baseball. At least that's what I feel. I think they're so good 1 through 6, and they've been getting great stuff from 7 through 9 team in baseball. 1,000 is way high in the sky, but I think it just shows you that if you're going to bring it up, it's because they've been that good so far.
Well, how contagious is hitting on this team been so far? Even Andrew Romine came into the ball game the other day in the second game of the Cleveland series and had a hit himself. This guy couldn't hit a beach ball last season. He hit like 220. He was terrible. There was people questioning why he was even on the roster. This becoming contagious on this Detroit Tigers team, and 1,000 runs. I think it's easier to try to bring up the topic of, is it even in the discussion? And I think right now, obviously, you can put it in the discussion. They're averaging close to 8-9 runs a game, and you need to average 6 a game. But going to the Cleveland team in 1999, Jim, just to give people kind of a frame of reference on how different between 1999 and right now. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody on that team was juicing, because you really never know, but literally everybody on that team could have been juicing. It was in the heart of the steroid era, and there were 19 teams that season that had over 800 runs. 19 teams that had over 800 runs. Nobody scored 800 runs last season. The LA Angels led with, I think, so. I mean, just to give people a frame of reference, I brought it up to you the other day, and you go, are you kidding me? In today's day and age of baseball, that's crazy.
It'd be the greatest offense of all time.
Well, yeah, especially during the time being. I mean, it would be absolutely absurd.
Well, we got a tweet coming in using the hashtag #ChipChat from Brian talking about biggest reason Venezuelan Jesus.
Okay.
I mean, that's got to be part of it. What he hit 2 home runs today. Cleveland can't hit him. They just intentionally walked him later in the game. It was the 8th inning, and they said, I don't care. We're not going to pitch to you.
Yeah, it was crazy. And
you've got him, and when you talk about the lineup being so good, Ghost has been outstanding. And we saw it in spring training, and you were skeptical. So far, he's been great. Line drive swing, hit a home run to lead off the game on Saturday. Kinsler's been great in the number 2 role because he can do so many different things. He could run the bases, and he's a good contact hitter, and he's going to get pitches to see when Ghost gets on. Then, of course, Miggy, of course, Vmart. JD's got 3 home runs so far, 6 games into the season.
You think people are still questioning whether he could duplicate what he did last year?
I'm not, because he did it all year last year when he got up. He did it in spout to put a full calendar year of slaughtering the baseball right on the table. So you've got that 1 through 5, and then I love what Yoenis Cespedes has done. I think he's going to be great. A number 6 hitter? Nobody's got a number 6 hitter with the kind of pop that he does, and he flashed his arm today. I think that's the other thing. They're so much better defensively because Ghost takes better routes to the ball than Austin Jackson, and he dives.
And Cespedes.
He dives. Cespedes has the arm, and he's way better than Torrey Hunter.
Iglesias is healthy.
And it's not a softball lineup either because they're running. They're first in baseball with 10 stolen bases. That's the other thing. You're going to have slumps.
Are they?
Yeah.
Doesn't Billy Hamilton with Cincinnati have like 10 by himself?
They have 10 as a team, and the Tigers have 10 as well. And the Tigers are right there, and you're starting to think about it. Rajai Davis at the top or Ghost. They're platooning a run. Romine was stealing the other day, and if he's going to play aggressive. I love it because you're going to have situations where those bats are going to cool down, and they're going to go, Cabrera's not going to hit 11 for 14. He's going to hit 1 for 14 over a 3-game stretch. How can you still score? And it's not necessarily small ball, but it's making sure you've got guys that can keep going and put yourself in scoring position so the one hit Cabrera does get scores 2. And they have it's not just the softball bopper lineup. They've got speed at the top. The one thing I'll say, I don't know if they have enough depth pinch hitting. That's been one thing in the past that's kept this team.
Like Hernan Perez?
No, but I do like James McCann, and they used him great the other day. So you've got one guy off the bench that can hit, Davis if he's not playing, and then you have McCann. So they're more like platoon bench guys. They really don't have that one. But it's nitpicking because they've been so good so far. Like you said, first in runs scored so far this season. They've got 46 runs already this season. It's phenomenal.
Did you wear the Old English D T-shirt today on purpose, or is that on accident?
You know, it's actually a Prince Fielder T-shirt. You want to take a look at that?
Are you kidding me?
It's one of a couple I have. One of a couple Tigers T-shirts I have.
Okay.
But yeah, I went with this one today. I like the blue Tiger jersey.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, it's a Prince Fielder shirt.
It's
You should
great.
burn
You didn't
that
even
thing.
notice that, did
No.
you?
No, I didn't at all.
You see his belly flop earlier last week?
No, I didn't.
That was great.
Even the one that he did for the Tigers last year?
No, this year with
He had
the
another
Rangers.
one. I'm surprised he's not hurt. Oh, well. A lot of things in the mix, like you mentioned at the open of the show. Hear from you on why the biggest reason this Tigers team is 6-0. And Brian chimes in and says, Cabrera's the Venezuelan Jesus, and he's been that way the last 3 games, 11 of 14. He started slow, 2 of 11 or something like that, and he's come on and hitting over 500 now. Him, Iglesias, Kinsler, all doing their jobs to their full potential. But other things in the mix as well. Red Wings playoff matchup. We want to know simply, hey, we're going to give you our opinions coming up later on in the show towards the end of this hour, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle for the Red Wings this season. We'll also talk a little bit about the goalie situation and how that's been handled. But another big question, ESPN.com, Jim, they've changed that.
Mixed reviews.
It's different.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the new ESPN format at 8:15, but we want to hear from you before that on social media using the hashtag ChipChat. You can also join the discussion today by calling 989-774-3691.
Well, and then the other big thing with the Tigers, the closing situation. Joe Nathan goes on the DL 1 game into the
Your
season.
boy.
And now Soria's got the reins, and it's been a pleasure to chat. More Rock Radio 91.5.
Jen, last week I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
You just need some new earrings and you'll feel a lot better.
When a friend tells you they've been diagnosed with a mental illness, it can be a little awkward. But what's even more awkward is...
Jen, last week I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
mental illness. What a difference a friend makes. To learn more, go to whatadifference.org. This message is brought to you by the Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
At the karaoke bar, Greg shows the telltale signs of being wasted. First off, he tells the waitress she can be his backup singer. Greg asks his buddy, he takes another shot and realizes he's not sitting with his buddy. Then he spends an hour searching for the perfect song in the food menu. On stage, he can't read the lyrics on the monitor. He explains to everyone that he can't read gobbledygook freestyle rap. He keeps repeating the line, "I don't read." The power is cut, and Greg offers to sign autographs out back.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many to drive. But what if you've had just one too many to drive? Never underestimate just a few. Buzz driving is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Special Olympics Michigan. Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Special Olympics Michigan is headquartered on the campus of Central Michigan University, and we reach out to 18,600 athletes all around the state. Our athletes' abilities. Our programs give them the opportunity to participate in up to nearly 24 sports.
There's a lot of different Special Olympics volunteer opportunities that we have throughout the year. Everything from state event volunteers, which are our larger events, come cheer on the athletes. You can keep score, you can help measure certain events, to being a coach. And there's a number of ways to get involved with that in order to actually work with the athletes and coach them.
To reach out to 3.5 million athletes in over 180 countries.
If you would like to help the Special Olympics Michigan, please contact us at 989-774-3911.
Remember the time you almost volunteered to work in a soup kitchen? Or when you almost visited the Veterans Hospital to your neighbor with AIDS? Remember all the times you almost helped, almost gave? Well, it's only human, this almost giving. But the truth is, it's the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give, give. Visit our website at don'talmostgive.org. A message from the Ad Council.
Right now, More Rock Radio, 91.5.
It's all about baseball to start the show on Chip Chat because, like we talked about, Loons victorious out, and of course the Tigers still haven't lost a game, 6-0, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and we'll take your calls and tweets on the biggest reason the Tigers are 6-0, 989-774-3691. Use the hashtag ChipChat. But we were talking about Joe Nathan and how he's on the DL now, and that's given Joakim Soria the role I thought he should have had from the get-go. And it's been great because when he's come in, they'll stress. It's been calm. Now, it helps that the Tigers' offense would probably score enough runs even if he blew it to come back, but Joakim Soria has looked really good. He did give up the run on Saturday, but today came in, was sharp. He's the better guy, and there's zero stress, and that's something that I haven't been able to say as someone who's watched the Tigers for years and years. There's always been drama in the ninth, and right now I don't feel like they're getting some of those dramatic situations. He's going to blow a save or two this year, probably more if he's the closer long term.
Probably 8.
But I don't think that he's going to falter. I feel really confident when he's your guy in the ninth inning. And it's unfortunate Nathan had to get hurt to force Ausmus from using him, but now you have the better closer in the ninth.
Well, it's just like what you said with the Lions in terms of the Lions or the Dolphins saved the Lions from being the Lions, from making a bad decision.
Yes.
And you know Brad Ausmus was going to make Joe Nathan the closer full-time no matter what happened. He had to get hurt for this decision to be made, and I think that's almost a bad sign if you're a Tigers fan and that you can't trust your manager yet.
Well, I've liked a lot that he's done so far.
In this instance, and saying that Soria is the better pitcher, he's more well-liked by the fans. I know that doesn't matter, but I mean, I think it's because he's the better pitcher and people know that. But it took a Joe Nathan injury for this to be, what's going on. And I think much better pitcher. And like you said, he's going to blow a couple of saves. He could blow 2 out of the next 8 saves while I don't care. Soria is my guy. It's the same thing that we've been saying with Mrazek and Howard. Mrazek's our guy. Don't make the switch back. Soria is the guy. Don't make the switch back. And if Joe Nathan's ego takes a hit, screw him. I'm sure every fan in Detroit would say the same thing. So 8th inning, and Soria is your guy.
Yeah, that's the other part of this, because whenever he can re-anoint him the closer, because I'm very worried about that.
100% worried about. I'm not losing sleep over it.
No, but let's say Soria is perfect in save situations. Then it would be ludicrous to pull him, right? Given the history of this bullpen.
Jim, you know Ausmus would give it back to Nathan. You know he would.
Don't make me do this.
There is one thing that I'll say, the only move that I think in every inning so far, but the other day in Game 2 of the Cleveland series, it was Ian Kroll in there with a runner on. He walks 2 straight batters. I wanted to go to Soria right there. I wanted to have him get the 4-out save. And obviously hindsight is 20/20 in this whole situation, but I mean, we're saying it at the time. Go get Soria right now. Go let him get 4 outs. I trust him to do that. Kroll's left him in. You give up the runs. You end up winning the game either way, but I think that was the one decision that I've maybe questioned before it happened so far.
Well, and that's the big thing is first guessing, not second guessing.
Right.
Everybody second guesses,
yeah.
But first guessing is when you can really look at a managing decision before it happens, and then he looks more comfortable as a manager. Sure, you could maybe nitpick 1 or 2 things, but I really do like what he's provided so far, and I think it's easy to say that when your offense is killing it, right? Because it masks some of the mistakes. It masks the bullpen that still hasn't been very good, right? And so Nathan's out, and Soria is the closer, and I get my way, and I have the guy closing in the 9th inning that's the best arm in the bullpen, but it doesn't change the fact that they don't have another reliable arm. I'm giving up a run. But like Gorzolani hasn't been great. Kroll hasn't been great. Nesbitt,
it'd be different.
He's been okay. He was good today. Got an inning, a shutout ball.
Yeah. It'd be different if it wasn't a control thing, and I think it's been a control thing so far for a lot of these guys.
Well, and that's the worry, especially with a guy like Al Albuquerque, right? Because he's unhittable when he's in the strike zone, or at least near the strike zone.
Talented guy.
But that's another help today that we had to see all of the relievers because Kyle Lobstein is not a major league pitcher.
I mean, he's Kyle Lobstein.
Yeah, he's throwing high 80s and walking batters, and he can't throw a strike.
How do you think the pitching has been so far, starting pitching?
Well, the first 3 are great. 0 ERAs. None of them gave up anything. They all went deep into the game, 7 innings or more.
Well, out of those 5 so far, I think they've given up a total of 6 runs in 39 and a third innings.
Well, and all of 2.
Right. The last 2, all of those runs.
Lobstein and then Simon.
Look, I've been impressed with the starting pitching, and I'm gonna overreact to the offense so far. I'm gonna say that this team, the discussion should be had right now for 1,000 runs or 900 runs or whatever it might be, but I'm not gonna overreact about the starting pitching so far. I think you go against a team in the Minnesota Twins that we're talking about the Tigers with 900 to 1,000 runs maybe this year. The Twins are terrible. So going
What's the worst part about them?
them?
Their lineup, their pitching, or their defense? Because it's really a tie. They all
maybe
are
the city
terrible.
that they're in.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry,
Bert
Chad Roberts. Yeah, okay, Bert Blyleven, yeah. But no, I mean, the Twins might not score 500 runs. So the starting pitching, Shane Green going out there, going 8 strong innings, not giving up an earned run. Sorry, I'm going to have to see it a couple more times.
Okay, what about David Price?
Okay, David Price is David Price. He's
good.
been David Price. People want to overreact to the starting pitching so far. Don't. Overreact to the offense.
Because that's coming down.
Right, the offense is coming down. The pitching,
Well, even when the offense comes back to earth, though, we can
it's
forget.
still going to be a top 5 offense
exactly.
in the majors.
And I think the best in the majors. I mean, you're going to have stretches where you're not hitting, but I think the time will tell at the end of the season. You're going to have, barring any crazy injuries, the best offenses are really good. But the point is you need 4 to have success in the postseason. So that's going to be the quest, is whenever Justin Verlander figures out whatever's wrong with him and whenever we can get a timetable for him to pitch, and then you can see, do you have a 4th guy there, or are they a trade away at the deadline? These are questions that will be pushed down the line, but they have 3 guys. I like Shane Green. I thought he had a great spring. We did a buy and sell segment last week. I bought Shane Green.
Opportunity to buy anybody. So we're going to go down the road in 3 months here, and you're going to say, don't worry, I have his stock. You're not allowed to buy it, Brad.
Or you'll have to buy it from me, and I have a whole bunch of guys at a great value.
I have no stock, so realistically, I have no risk here.
Brad, when's the first time in the season we can actually start to use stats for baseball? Because you and I like to use stats whenever we're bringing up points because you actually have data.
Baseball is a numbers game. I mean, people love numbers in baseball.
But it's based on stats, right? Guys' ERAs are jacked up, and you've got situations where pitchers have only had a start or 2. So when to you is like the noticeable time? Like, is it May? Once May starts, you have a month of data?
I start using numbers when the FSD broadcast starts using the current season numbers. So, I mean, they're still using stats from either last year or last series for hitters, and they're still using bullpen or even the starters. I will change when FSD changes. So when they start giving me stats from the current season because they think there's been enough at-bats in this season, then I'll start using stats.
Well, and I think that's the important thing to remember. We're going to talk about stats throughout the show. I mean, when we're talking about this offense inflated, and yes, we realize it's early. Let's make that an implied thing. I mean, if you call in and you ask, it's all implied that this is a small sample size. It's implied that the numbers are going to change as guys settle in. But let's not get in the way of having a discussion. So you can give us a call, 989-774-3691. Use the hashtag ChipChat. This Tigers team is 6-0 right now, and they're restarting pitchers. You have the guy that should be closing games. There's a lot to be happy about. It's nearly
6-0 means, is that perfect?
No, but I'm saying if it was perfect, you would have had no runs given up, right? You would have no bullpen issues, so it's nearly perfect. There are still things lurking out there. You don't have a number 4 starter. I don't like Simon. I've said that before. You don't have a number 4 starter. You don't have anybody that can get you innings 6 to...
Verlander added 20 pounds of muscle in the offseason.
Hey, Brad, I tell you, once he gets out there, he's going to lock it
up. We had a tweet coming in on Chip Chat right now from John. Biggest reason for Tigers' 6-0 start, Asmus isn't managing the team like Jim Leland Jr., like he did most of last year.
Thank you.
So I know you like the moves that he's made so far. You don't question a lot of the stuff he's done.
No, Asmus last season. And I think part of that might have been first-year manager, and I didn't ever want to make that excuse, but it looks like he certainly made more decisions I can applaud. Like James McCanna's a pinch hitter for Alex Avila when they're facing a lefty late in that game on Saturday. Love the move. And it shouldn't be a move where you have to stand up and praise because it's a fairly obvious move statistically, but it's just nice to see that he's starting to be more matchup-based, and he's starting to believe more. I think he can mesh knowing the clubhouse and knowing the data. And I think so far I've liked what I've seen.
I'm not ready to anoint him some great manager.
No,
yet.
we're 6 games in.
He's got a team where 5 guys are hitting over 400 from the box.
And that's masked some of the things. So we still don't know the true Tigers team yet.
Just like I'm going to wait with the starting pitching.
And that's fair. One thing we can't wait on, though, the Red Wings playoff 30, the Red Wings are going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that they struggled with this season. 3-1 on the season Tampa Bay was versus your Detroit Red Wings. And it's a daunting series. It's a daunting task. We don't know who the starting goalie is going to be yet. And if Mike Babcock chooses Jimmy Howard, you and I are probably going to explode. But
I don't know. Maybe Mike Babcock's just drunk, sipping beers like all the rest.
Maybe he's just going to switch the goalies every period.
Revolving door of garbage.
But it doesn't look pleasant, this Tampa Bay Red Wings series, if you're a Detroit hockey fan. So we want to get people's predictions on this series. That's the classic thing to do before they've played any games. And you look at this matchup, who wins this series and in how many games on the season. Tampa Bay, a much more impressive team, first in goals scored on the season. That offense scares me, especially when you look at Detroit's deep inconsistent goaltending. It doesn't look good.
Well, Steven Stamkos, one of the best forwards in all of the NHL, and obviously he leads this offense that's the top in the NHL. But you mentioned it. Red Wings 3-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning this season. It was actually split goalie-wise. Mrazek got 2 of those starts. Howard got 2 of those starts as well. The biggest thing for me has been this revolving door that's been in between the pipe so far. And Mike Babcock, I know maybe a lot of people thought it was funny, thought it was down to earth, thought he was another one of the guys by saying that he was just going to go home, have a beer, and hope that somebody grabbed this job because that's what everybody else was doing. Why say that? I don't like that Mike Babcock said that.
It's not that big of a deal.
Is it not that big of a deal? Why can't you just pick Mrazek and let him start every?
But I'm not saying that comment that he says, well, I'll have I'm sure it was goofing around with the beat writers.
Sure, it was goofing around. I don't really care if he's goofing around or not.
As long as he makes the
all
right
well
decision,
and great,
though, right?
But why didn't we see Mrazek in net for the last 3 weeks?
Well, to be fair, we talked about having a competition, but I even said once you got to that last 4 to 5 games, you had to pick one goalie. And they didn't.
And they didn't. And that's what's infuriating me. Chat, though, we want to continue to get your influence on Twitter. ESPN.com, new format on ESPN.com. And obviously, if you're listening to this show, you're obviously a sports fan, and you probably visit that site just as Jim and I do every single day. We want to know your thoughts on the new format. We're going to tell you ours at 8:15.
And there's one thing with this Tampa Bay Lightning team. They're better on paper, but one thing that has Tampa chat, more Rock Radio 91.5.
More Rock Radio 91.5 is looking for nonprofit organizations or community groups that want to announce their events on our radio station. If you're looking to get the word out, contact us at community@wmhw.org. Then we can get your message out to the people all over Mid-Michigan. Please give us a 30-day notice in regards to your event so we can remember community@wmhw.org. From your friends at More Rock Radio 91.5.
The WMHW sales team is looking for people to help with our underwriting. This is a perfect opportunity for you if you're looking for an on job with flexible hours that gives you real-world experience. You will have the chance to earn money sales skills that will help boost your resume. For more information, feel free to visit WMHW in Moore Hall, room 183, or email us at donor@wmhw.org. That's DONOR@wmhw.org.
Support for WMHW comes from the Villa Way in Mount Pleasant. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom furnished apartments alongside a member fitness center, indoor basketball court, outdoor pool, tanning beds, and a campus shuttle. More info at villageofbluegrass.com or by calling 888-412-BLUEGRASS. Donates to WMHW.
Coming on More Rock Radio 91.5 comes from the CMU Bookstore. Located in the Bovey University Center on the north end of campus, the CMU Bookstore provides students with Central Michigan apparel and school supplies, including textbooks. Orders can also be placed online at 989-774-7493. CMU Bookstore for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
MHTV, the Michigan Association of Broadcasters' #1 college TV station, broadcasting on cable channel 97 and Central Michigan University's campus channel 34. MHTV TV sports, and adventurous detectivists. While working for MHTV, students gain hands-on experience by participating in a variety of available production and executive staff positions. This award-winning television station gives students the experience they need to prepare for what's next. To contact MHTV, email morehalltelevision@gmail.com.
Funding for W Tavern off West High Street, 705 South Adams. Freddy's. Lunch, dinner, and drinks. Darts, pool, flat screen TVs, and a jukebox. Open at 10 a.m. Monday through Saturday, Sundays at noon, and every night till 2 a.m. More information at Freddy'sTavernMI.com. Freddy's Tavern supports More Rock Radio 91.5.
A little rock never hurt, so how about more? Only on More Rock Radio 91.5.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Red Wing fans. I think you're looking at a loss. I think you're looking at the following week because the season is on the brink right now. You got Tampa Bay Lightning and Detroit Red Wings going to start the postseason next Thursday. It's going to be a 7:30 game in Tampa. And we started to talk about who's your goalie. Why isn't Babcock decided yet? He says now that he knows, but isn't going to reveal it yet. I've said all along, especially down the stretch here, it's been Peter Mrazek. And sure, he's had his flaws, but I'll give you a note for the Red Wings when this season starts, when this postseason starts. Because the thought might be Jimmy Howard's the veteran. This is the biggest moment of the season. You go with him, and I don't think that's the case. I think you look at how bad the Red Wings are defensively and some of the mistakes they make in their own end. I think Mrazek is more equipped to make the spectacular save to help out his bad defense, and then the fact that he can play the puck well helps them stop goals from going in because he's so fantastic.
So that's why they win more with Mrazek in net. We'll play the win-loss card here, huh?
And he's done a nice job playing the puck. So I think Mrazek's your choice, and I realize he's your young goalie with no playoff experience, but I think he has the higher chance to steal a game. Would you agree with that, Brad? A chance where he just plays lights out.
But okay.
Well, he might go shutout one game like he did this season in the regular. Was Mrazek against Tampa Bay when he shut them out in this last month. And I think he has a chance where he stands on his head in one game in the series and beats Tampa Bay almost single-handedly, a 1-0, 2-1 game. Outside of that, I don't think you're winning the series any more than the one game that Mrazek stands on his head. And if they don't pick Mrazek and Howard continues to give up soft goals, this is going to be a 4-game, a 5-game series. I think it's 5 games, Tampa Bay wins the series against the Red Wings.
We were just talking about our predictions in the break, and we're on the same page here. It's going to be 5 games, Tampa Bay. They're going to be outside in 5 games just as they were last season. And just to kind of wrap things up on this whole goalie situation, we've gone back and forth during the regular season. A month ago, 2 months ago, we solidified our candidacy with Peter Mrazek.
Yep.
It just bought a 6-pack and is drinking more beer than everybody that's watching the games.
Why didn't he see the value in finding a guy sooner?
Exactly. Why do we have to keep going back and forth here? You can't have consistent play between the pipes when you don't have a consistent starter. And does that not make sense?
Yeah, it's unfair to expect one goalie to grab the job when he gets pulled after every bad game.
And it's unfair to even so. If it's 2 veteran guys that have been doing this for a while, that have been in a situation where they're not the starting guy, then maybe you can see this happening. But you're doing this to a 23-year-old kid. That can't happen. He needs to have confidence going into his first ever playoff appearance, and right now he doesn't have. During the regular season was right around the same area as Howard. Mrazek. Better record, better save percentage, better goals against average. It's not close. Okay? I mean, Jimmy Howard finished the regular season 23-22. That's close to a losing record. That's counting overtime losses and everything else. Mrazek 16-9-2. I'll take any single day, and I know you don't like to play the win-loss card, but it seems like you're kind of starting to puck and you said it.
Yeah, but
he might steal you a game, too.
It has nothing to do with the win-loss because I think so much goes into how well your team played in front of you on that day and what kind of offense you got. But I will say this, it goes beyond the numbers. When you watch Mrazek play, he's, yes, more aggressive and, yes, makes some mistakes, but I think he makes is in front of him, he's going to make some saves that Howard won't. He's going to keep it in a way that Howard can't. And if you're going to lose the series anyway, which you and I both think, then let's usher in that next stage. Let's give him the playoff experience, because that's the thing that has Tampa Bay fans worried. They don't have a goalie that's played in the postseason. Ben Bishop, I think he's an above-average goalie, big frame, 6'7" guy, of the Team USA roster, American goalie. He's never played in the postseason, and his numbers were very good. Only gave up 2 goals a game, had a .920 save percentage. He was really good in the 4 games against Detroit, and I think he's going to play well, but that's one thing that worries you when you have a goalie that doesn't have postseason experience. But I think if both teams are going into it, one, it makes me feel better about Mrazek in the future. If Mrazek's going to be your postseason goalie, baptism by fire. Let's see what he's got game 1 Thursday night.
Well, you said he doesn't have any postseason experience. Well, how do you get that? You got to play in the postseason. When are you going to do this with this guy? If you don't hand over the reins now, Jimmy Howard's your guy. It's going to be hard to deal him in the offseason when you're telling him right now that he's the guy in the postseason. Hockey team, you have a group of guys in Zetterberg and Datsuk at the top in their mid-30s, and you have a young group of guys in their mid-20s, Nyquist, Shan, Yurko, Tatar. Let's usher those guys in with Peter Mrazek right now. You're not going to win in the first round. We're both on the same page here that they're going to lose in 5 games. And if not, it could be 4. This might be a sweep against Tampa Bay. Have that 4-0 win shutout against Tampa Bay. But, I mean, you go back and look at the game on January 29th. They lost 5-1. Mrazek gave up 5 goals on 15 shots in that game. It's a high-powered offense, and if you're clinging to that game on the 28th where Mrazek shut them out 4-0, let's go all the way back to January 29th where he gave up 5 goals on 15 shots. So let's not be overly confident Mrazek moving. He's not going to get playoff experience without playing in the playoffs. Hand it over to Peter Mrazek, Mike Babcock. Stop drinking your beer and put him between the pipes.
He very well might pick him. He did save 35 shots in the last game of the season, pick up a shutout. I think that's the way he's leaning. We don't know, but I think once he announces it, I expect it to be Mrazek.
I hope so.
So I think they'll go with the right guy. If they lose the first game 4-3, and Mrazek gives up a couple soft goals in the first game, and they go, well, you know what? Jimmy Howard on Saturday. I don't want that. And I know you don't want that. You have to give him a chance to play consistently. You have to give him a chance to steal a game and let him fire up his teammates and do what they've done at best case scenario. Best case scenario, he's your goalie, and you have to play as the underdog and put your young goalie in there. It scares me too much when you look at Tampa Bay's offense. I don't think you're winning either way.
They're really good.
They've been so good. So much firepower. And then the other leg of this, Babcock did announce that Alexei Marchenko is going to be with the team in the playoffs. Young defenseman, we've talked about him. He played 12, 13 games earlier in the year and then got injured. But he's a right-handed shot. So now they have Marek Zhidlitsky and Alexei Marchenko as 2 right-handed shots. Helps a little bit on the blue line. Again, I don't think you're winning the series, but I think it's interesting that Babcock's asserting his will a little more and saying, we're going to put in the younger guy on defense because I like the way he played. He's healthy and he's a right-handed shot versus sticking with the old guard. And I love that he benched Brendan Smith on Saturday's game, because for those of you that didn't watch it on Thursday night, it was a 5 on the power play. Detroit only clinging to a 1-goal lead. The puck goes down the boards, and Brendan Smith reaches his hand out from the bench and touches the puck, makes it a 5-on-3. They give up the lead. They go to overtime. They lose the game. Boneheaded play. Babcock sat him, and I hope he sits in the postseason too. He's made a lot of mistakes, too many to stay in the game.
Oh, you're gonna sit him down for the postseason?
Well, it depends. I mean, you have a revolving door on defense. Someone will
into Kaiser,
Kronwall,
the
2 right-handers,
Marchenko and Zhidlicki.
Yeah, and then you have a choice of either Kindle or Quincy as your 6th guy. Listen, they're not good, and that's why it's scary. I mean, when you look at the firepower of this team, scores 3.2 goals a game, they're going to score a lot, and you're going to lose the series. Mrazek gives you 1 win. That's all I'm giving. He's got a chance to. That's about it, right? You don't see this team even getting to the opportunity to play in a game 6 or 7.
Well, no, and I'm not going to cling to that game back in March where they won 4-0. I mean, it's an outlier.
Well, it is. And then I think the other point is if you and I both see it as a early exit, team is going to go out in 5 games. Toronto, did you watch what happened? Fires their interim head coach, and now the push is on. Get Mike Babcock. Pay him more money, give him control of the team, something he doesn't have with the Red Wings, the chance to control player personnel as a GM and coach the hockey team, do it in his home country of Canada, and make him the highest paid coach in hockey by a healthy margin.
If they make the push, if they want to go give him $8 million a year, whatever it is, hand them.
Yeah, like you said, like an $8 million.
Would it be? What does he make here? 3?
A little more than that. I don't have the figure in front of me.
If they hand him $8, $9, $10 million, look, I'm not blaming Mike Babcock for leaving. I'll say this though: you have a young core here. The Maple Leafs suck. They are absolutely empty house this season at the trade deadline.
Yep, just a sale. As many contracts they could get rid of.
Those first 2 picks to go get Jack Eichel or McDavid, the 2 young guys. They're not going to have a top 2 pick. At least it doesn't seem that way because the Sabres are going to get one of them. And then who knows? It's a crapshoot for the next second pick. Why, if you're Babcock, are you leaving this young core of players, Shane and Yurko, a GM that at least this season, and give you a little bit of what you want in terms of the young players, why are you leaving this young core? You're already paid $4 million. Look, ask for a pay raise. I'm sure the Red Wings are willing to go out and give you 6. Well, do you want to chase 8, 9, 10 with the Maple Leafs and not win for another 5 years?
Well, that's the thing. I think the fair value, which is the highest paid coach in hockey. His contract
which would be
ends,
5 or 6.
Right, his contract ends after this year. So he is, in all essence, a free agent.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes difficult because maybe he believes in himself enough where he says, if I have control over personnel, if Ken Holland, being the GM, is getting in the way of his vision, if he wants to make that money and he wants to prove that he can have success, if he turn it around, would solidify himself as a legend if some people feel he's not already. There's a lot to like about the Toronto situation. And if you're the Red Wings, I don't think that they're in a position where they're begging to keep him, right? Because they do have Jeff Blashill, who's worked with all these young guys.
That's the thing. They're not going to be okay with.
Well, they denied Blashill to interview with anybody else.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that with other coaches. So they really like Blashill. And I think that thing where Detroit might say, nope, that's all right. We got a guy. See you later. Bye.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what worries me because I do think Babcock's a great coach, and I'd like to see him stay.
I'm worried about that, too. I don't know if I like that. I think they're very confident in Blashill. I think they like what he's done down with the Griffins, and like I said, if the Maple Leafs want to throw $8, $9, $10 million at Mike Babcock, which they very might well do, then itself as a Red Wings fan, and you might have to say goodbye to Mike Babcock earlier than you expected.
You might. And the big thing, too.
Okay.
Well, you might. I mean, what do you want me to say? It doesn't look good. The Toronto Maple Leafs hold all the cards, right? It's whatever Babcock truly wants.
Maybe give him a little bit of a pay raise, like Keno Davis.
Well, Keno Davis getting that contract extension, he got paid. And we'll talk about his contract. Look at some other teams in the MAC. Not so good for head coaches. We'll talk about it next on Chip Chat. More Rock Radio 91.5.
Portions of programming on Morac Radio 91.5 are made possible by Freddy's Tavern, located at 705 South Adams, just off M20 near Mill Pond Park. Entertainment at Freddy's includes darts, pool, 10 flat-screen televisions, and more. Freddy's Tavern opens daily at 10 a.m. every night. More info on Freddy's Facebook or at FREDDIES TavernMI.com. That's Freddy's Tavern MI.com. Freddy's Tavern, proud sponsors of Morac Radio 91.5.
Are you by a computer? Then check out WMHW.org and click that More Rock Radio button. You can listen live to us anywhere you have the internet about upcoming local shows and events. WMHW.org has you covered. Log on and check up on your favorite DJs and shows along with any other details you want. So keep it tuned here to WMHW.org and More Rock Radio 91.5. With Facebook having over 500 million users, my guess is that for search WMHW More Rock Radio 91.5 and hit that like button so you can stay up to date with everything from the DJs on air, upcoming events, giveaways, and special insider information only available when you subscribe. Keep it tuned here from 95 till now, More Rock Radio 91.5.
are sponsored by Isabella Bank. Say yes to a better life. With 27 locations throughout mid-Michigan, Isabella Bank proudly donates to WMHW Student Radio at Central Michigan University. More Rock Radio 91.5 appreciates financial support from Isabella Bank. servicing mid-Michigan since 1903. Bank.com.
Support for WMHW comes from CM Life, Central Michigan University's student-operated newspaper. CM Life strives to present balanced, accurate coverage of events affecting the CMU community. Located in Moore Hall on CMU's campus, opportunities to gain experience with reporting, editing, graphic arts, and more. Campus and businesses throughout Mount Pleasant, as well as cmlife.com, where they can be contacted. WMHW would like to thank CM Life for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
Programming on More Rock Radio 91.5 is brought to you by Microchips is an Apple-authorized campus store providing students with computers. Chips is located on the lower level of the Bovee University Center. Orders can be placed in-store, online at cmubookstore.com, or by phone at 989-774-1185. WMHW would like to thank Microchips for their support of more.
It's not religion. It's rock and roll. More Rock Radio 91.5.
Well, it's beautiful outside, and did you get outside to enjoy that today at all, Jim?
Very little, unfortunately. I was just as that might be.
Is it sad that I'm driving in my car, obviously going out to Midland today for the Loons game? Is it sad that I'm intentionally not wearing a jacket and rolling up my sleeves to try to catch a tan for my car?
Yeah, that's bad.
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
Well, it's nice, though. I noticed you don't have – you're wearing short sleeves. I got shorts.
We got Adam over here.
I think he's wearing shorts,
with
too.
With a dang hoodie on, like a loser.
I got shorts on, though.
You can't wear a hoodie and shorts.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
That's a very
despicable.
That is the move.
That's a classic
that
Michigan
is the
look.
move.
Shorts and the hoodie is
you
the move.
You are unreal, Adam Abraham.
That's great in the fall. It's great in the spring. I endorse the hoodie shorts look.
And if I get warm, I can take the hoodie off and wear.
Boom!
Why don't you watch your mic before it clips out of here? Jesus. Okay, that was better. Tone it down a second. Okay, a lot of things going on the show today. 989-774-3691, the number to call if you want to join the discussion with Jim and I. You could talk to Adam, too, if you want. Or you can use the hashtag ChipChat, as John did earlier on, talking about the Tigers and the biggest reason why they're 6-0. He says Ausmus isn't managing the team like Jim Leland Jr., like he did most train this season. So far, he's done a nice job, and we haven't questioned many decisions. I know last season it felt like every day during the summer I saw Jim Costa tweet, boy, Ausmus, I tell you what, terrible decision, so-and-so, so-and-so, X marks the spot, terrible move. We haven't seen that so far from you this year.
Yeah, don't worry, long season.
Are you just getting soft, or?
No, he's making better moves.
Well, that's good. So you can be just like John, use the hashtag ChipChat, this reason that you think the Tigers have started 6-0 this season. Also, the Wings playing Tampa Bay, first round of the playoffs. That one kicks off on Thursday. They're going to have home games on Tuesday and Thursday next week. I believe they go Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, and that might be all they play because they might get swept in 4 games. We don't know.
Come on, you're being a jerk. They're going to win at least a game, right?
Are you serious?
I got them in 5.
Okay, you got them in. So you can chime in using the hashtag ChipChat or call 989-774-3691. Do you believe that this is a Red Wing team that can win this postseason in the first round? But right now, you teased it right before we went to break, Jim. Keno Davis gets the extension. I think we both will honestly say to each other, this is a move that had to be made. Dave Hickey has made all the right moves. Coach Davis had to be done. You got coaches leaving schools in the MAC like it's nothing. Bobby Hurley leaving. You got Chris Jans getting fired. Those are the 2 other coaches in the MAC that, outside of Keno, were the best coaches this season. And they're both gone.
It's great. You're licking your chops, right? Because you said who are going to be the teams that are scary next year. If you believe Chris Jans is a great coach, Bowling Green's going to be in the picture. Bobby Hurley's got everybody coming back. And you got a coach here that stayed, and Bobby Hurley's making more money going to Arizona State.
Can't blame him going there, I tell you what.
But I think because he won the MAC, he got the contract that very easily could have been Keno, right? If they win that game in the MAC championship, maybe Keno's coaching at Arizona State. So maybe it was a little bit of that silver lining we talked about initially. Because everybody comes back next year. Keno's got a 5-year
Keno's a better coach than Bobby Hurley, right?
Just follow the foundation. You got Keno Davis, the architect.
Thank you for
just
that.
building this team up.
Thank you for that.
he's more valuable than one player. We talked about that right away after the MAC tournament because we said he found all these players, he and his assistants, that were nobodies relatively, and then they've brought them in, they've flourished in the system, and they've all gotten better. They've all developed. So I think he's more valuable than any one player, and getting him locked up for 5 years, and that's the
Jim, what is he making?
$300,000 plus a $100,000 additional amount for TV, radio, all those kind of appearances that he makes.
So it's $400,000.
$400,000 a year is what his new contract will be.
Why do they have to split contracts up like that?
I don't know.
It's stupid.
So that'll sign him through 2000. There's always going to be the allure, much like Bobby Hurley, if Keno has the success next NCAA tournament, make some noise, scare somebody in the first round, you got to figure he'll move on. But it's good that he got the extension now because it was a sign of good faith from Dave Hickey, and let's just say it like it is, buyout money changes when you have that extension. So if he does go somewhere, some to your bank, and you can use that to get a new coach.
Well, wait a second on the payout money because I think that's a.
I don't have that.
Okay, then. You know what? We're not even going to tease it then. Screw it. Scrap everything we just said. Keno, obviously, it's a sign of good faith from Dave Hickey. Obviously, a move that had to be made, but this doesn't guarantee him being here any more than next season. I think he's out the door next year, right? I mean, if he sees this is a guy with a National Coach of the Year award, a guy that's made a tourney appearance, that's turned out so. I mean, Bobby Hurley's a big name, okay? He's a former NBA player. He's a guy that took Buffalo in his second season there to an NCAA tourney berth and kind of upset CMU in the MAC championship. So that's why he's moving on. He's a big name. Keno Davis is the better coach. He's going to have offers. Second, that he's not going to have a Power 5 school calling his phone. I'm sure the calls were made.
That's why it's nice that they were able to come to an agreement, right? Because you were worried about losing him this year. I was worried about losing him.
It's a rental.
Well, everything in mid-major hoops is a rental, right?
Yeah.
So you're always worried about the guy leaving when you're talking about mid-major hoops. So I think it's a good sign that he signed the extension. One, up, and if he leaves, then fine. The other school is going to pay some amount more than it would have been in the old deal.
Yeah.
And he knows that you're willing to commit more financial resources to him. Now, I'd argue he should be the highest paid coach in the conference, but he's not. Saul Phillips makes right around the $500,000.
We're at Central Michigan, yeah.
But if he continues to win, they're going to continue to have to up the ante, and maybe you're right. Maybe if they do fill all the goals next year, he could be out. But I think inappropriate conduct gets fired. Bobby Hurley.
Oh, he's just smacking a couple butts in the bar. What do you want him to do?
Gets a job somewhere else. Bobby Hurley's out, and you're going, you have the best coach in the conference, coach of the year last year. Everybody comes back, an extension. I mean, that was great. It was a cherry on top. You knew you had everybody coming back, and now the architect.
What are you saying? They're going to the national championship?
Absolutely. No, they're going to win.
Nice.
I think they're going to win the conference, right? And I think they should win the conference tournament next year.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the expectation.
Should have won it this year.
Well, you were right there. Yeah. And Buffalo, you could say that Keno's the better coach, but those teams were pretty.
And I like Nate Oates with Buffalo. That's going to be their new head coach.
He was, at Romulus?
Yeah.
Is that the background for him?
He was at Romulus. Me and Adam Abraham. Love the guy.
How do you guys know him?
We did a lot of Romulus games in high school.
You guys know him personally?
In high school?
I'm sure we did on the radio.
Yeah.
Describe his personality.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. He's a good basketball coach. Good
nice guy. That could be said for so many people. You guys
don't
know him.
He's got a high motor, high energy.
I feel like you guys don't know this guy.
He's going to be in a good place.
Yes, I know him too. Great guy.
Buffalo's going to be in a good place.
Nice guy.
Yeah. It's just all about the approach.
And we've also got the Tiger stuff.
You don't have this buyout money thing.
No, I don't know if anybody has the reported buyout. I don't know if it's
Can you
out.
explain a little bit more for our listeners what it means it's buyout money? Because I think that's the biggest part of this.
Yeah, I think the basic understanding of a buyout is typically, and sometimes there's a negotiated number,
right,
but typically it's just the remaining amount on the contract. Is a typical buyout unless there's an
he goes, say Purdue or say Indiana fires Tom Crean.
Iowa.
Yeah, say
his
Iowa
alma mater.
doesn't have a head coach. They go out and hire Keno Davis.
They have to pay CMU. Let's just speculate, because if it was the amount left
after next season,
so there'd be 4 years left at $400,000. It'd be $1.6 million.
They would pay Central Michigan $1.6 million.
If that's how his contract. It's just an idea.
Different nuances in it.
Well, and it could be if he's here for X amount of years, then the buyout changes. That obviously has not been made public.
Right.
So I don't know what the stipulation is, but I think that's a huge number, like you said, because this is a hot commodity, and whether it is in Iowa, Purdue, somebody out there that fires their coach next season, he'll be at the top of the list if they have the season we expect them to have.
No doubt. No.
They're not tweeting their predictions in yet, and I don't know if you're waiting. What are you waiting for? Because you have Tampa Bay and you have the Red Wings playing on Thursday. You know what you need to know. Maybe people are waiting to see who the starting goalie is, Brad. As if that's going to make a huge difference.
Which is completely fair. And people aren't chiming in either on the new ESPN.com format. We've been trying to tell 15. Maybe they're waiting for our thoughts. Maybe they want to know our thoughts, and then they can form their own
budging.
opinions.
8:15 is ESPN.com website.
When I know later on as well at 8:20, right after we give our thoughts on the new ESPN.com format, you're going to call out Spartans, right?
There is a section of MSU fans that are acting very hypocritically, especially given some of the news in the last week.
Typically it's Michigan fans.
We're equal opportunity caller-outers on this show.
Jim just calls out everybody.
Let's hashtag that as well with the hashtag ChipChat.
No thanks. Well, Jordan Spieth won the Masters today. Can we talk about his performance a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about Jordan Spieth. I mean, wire to wire, the runaway performance he had. He was at under 19 right before we got on the air today, right before the finish. And I think everybody wanted Tiger to make the push or Rory to make the push and scare the bleep out of the kid.
I could care less. Did you at any point doubt that he... I didn't really watch much of the Masters this weekend. I mean, I
don't watch golf.
You're a loser.
You stink.
Okay. Adam's on his high horse about golf, and I don't know what it's about.
Golf.
Our producer, Matt, is DVRing as much Masters golf as he can. He's going to have to go like on a binge watch at some point. He's a golfaholic. Just let me know who's the leader.
DVRing golf?
Yeah, that's a problem, right?
Just got to know the win.
Spieth's
entertaining to watch. Like, it's good TV.
Well, like I can admire
There's
really
no top 10 plays.
Well, I can really admire a good shot. I'll catch those on the highlights, though, won't
If
I?
Tiger Woods was throwing clubs and swearing the entire broadcast, then I'd tune in.
Well, he was doing a little of that, right?
Yeah, he was doing a little bit of that.
When he didn't pop out today, that's why he didn't come back and win?
Seriously?
That's what he said. Wow. Excuses.
I ain't over there.
Well, the best case scenario would have been he made the push, though, right? If he scared Spieth down the stretch and you at least had Tiger on the prowl down the stretch, that would have been really good. I think it's still great that you have a 21-year-old that wins and does it in dominating fashion, because now you have the question, is he the next star of golf? I mean, he had those conversations, and I think he's the budding guy as well, but now doesn't Spieth enter that discussion and you start names at the top that aren't Tiger?
Yeah, they have more star power than baseball does right now. Jim doesn't like that. He doesn't like any of my jokes.
What do you mean they don't have more star power than baseball?
Baseball lacks star power. That's why it sucks.
You've got Miguel Cabrera. Everybody knows
doesn't speak English.
Hits bombs over and over
and
over again.
How much of Spieth coming into the weekend was everybody thought Rory was the next up-and-comer? He was the one that was being talked about. Spieth kind of in the back corner saying, come on, guys, I'm 21 years old. You know, I'm still in diapers over here, and I'm going to win the Masters.
Yeah, no, we had people that thought Spieth could win, and it's not like it was a complete underdog.
We didn't have any.
We didn't ask the producer. I'm talking about the social media buzz, the articles before the tournament. This isn't a dark horse among dark horses. He was a legitimate contender to win the Masters, and he did.
A lot of people were picking Spieth.
Yeah, it's not like this guy emerged from nowhere, but it is cool that golf now has another name they could put at the top, a guy that dominated the Masters, Jordan Spieth. Brad, when we come back, we'll give you the biggest reason the Tigers are 6 held off. That's coming up next on Chip Chat, More Rock Radio 91.5.
Are you by a computer? Then check out WMHW.org and click that More Rock Radio button. You can listen live to us anywhere you have the internet. On the go or at the office, you can find out about upcoming local shows and events. WMHW.org has you covered. Log on and check up on your favorites you want. So keep it tuned here to WMHW.org and More Rock Radio 91.5.
Portions of programming on Morac Radio 91.5 are made possible by Freddy's Tavern, located at 705 South Adams, just off M20 near Mill Pond Park. Entertainment at Freddy's includes darts, pool, 10 flat-screen televisions, and more. Sundays and stays open until 2 a.m. every night. More info on Freddy's Facebook or at FREDDIES TavernMI.com. That's Freddy's Tavern MI.com. Freddy's Tavern, proud sponsors of Morac Radio 91.5.
Funding for WMHW comes from Freddy's Tavern off West High Street, 70. Lunch, dinner and drinks, darts, pool, flat screen TVs, and a jukebox. Open at 10 a.m. Monday through Saturday, Sundays at noon, and every night till 2 a.m. More information at Freddy'sTavernMI.com. Freddy's Tavern supports More Rock Radio 91.5.
More Rock Radio nations or community groups that want to announce their events on our radio station. If you're looking to get the word out, contact us at community@wmhw.org. Then we can get your message out to the people all over Mid-Michigan. Please give us a 30-day notice in regards to your event so we can promptly get the word out about your event. Just remember community@wmhw.org. From your friend, More Rock Sports.
Miguel Cabrera leads the way for the Tigers with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs as they take down the Cleveland Indians earlier today, 8-5, and complete the weekend sweep. The Tigers improved to 6-0 early on the season. Kyle Obstein put in 5 innings of work, allowing 8 hits and 3 earned runs. Enough. The Tigers are back to work tomorrow in Pittsburgh for a 3-game set with the Pirates. Anibal Sanchez is the starter for that first game. The Detroit Pistons took down the Charlotte Hornets earlier this afternoon, 116-77. Jody Meeks led all scorers with 24 points. Andre Drummond also went for 15 points and 19 rears. Tomorrow in Cleveland, tip is at 7 o'clock. The Detroit Red Wings closed out their seasons yesterday with a 2-0 victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. Peter Mrazek had 31 saves on 31 shots. The Red Wings will open up the 2015 Stanley Cup playoff as they enter a best-of-7 series with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Puck drop is at... We have a 2015 Masters Tournament champion, and it is 21-year-old Jordan Spieth taking home the green jacket. Spieth shot a Masters record 18 under par on the weekend, tying the mark Tiger Woods set back in 1997 for most birdies in a Masters tournament with 28. Phil Mickelson of Spieth at 14 under on the weekend. For More Rock Sports, I am Adam Abraham.
WMHW Mount Pleasant HD1 and HD2, More Rock Radio 91.5, a service of Central Michigan University School of Broadcast and Arts.
You hear all the things that Spieth just broke? He's got like all the records now, Brad. 21 years old, birdie record, ties the record for the best finish at the Masters, had under 19 at one point, which is actually the lowest score that's ever been recorded. Absolutely ridiculous.
He broke everything.
Yeah, he set the record for 3 scoring under par for all 3. So.
And then just tied the final score after the 4th day with Tiger in the ridiculous 97 Masters he had.
Yeah. Brad cares so much about
This
golf.
is huge for golf, though, isn't it?
No, it's big for golf.
Ratings out yet or on the weekend?
I doubt they're up yet, but I'm sure Monday it's going to be everybody talking about it because, sure, it would have been great if there was a chase, but you could argue this was as impactful that you had a guy running away and people had to tune in and see what's the next shot he's going to hit because he didn't cool off. So I'm sure you're going to still get good ratings even though it wasn't a contest.
What would you shoot at Augusta?
High number. If whatever I would say, it would probably be worse than that.
The answer would be they wouldn't let you on the course.
Why? I fit all the requirements.
Of what?
What? They're a very exclusive club. I could get in, right?
I don't think so.
I just need to make like
I'd
triple
shoot
the income, and
I'd shoot 160.
I need to be like 60 years older.
160. You'd put yourself at 160?
That's terrible.
I'd put myself at like 340.
So we're also taking predictions for the Red Wings and the playoffs coming up. They're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning. If you're just joining us, it's going to be Thursday night, 7:30. Puck drops in Tampa Bay. We get some reaction on Twitter. You can use the hashtag ChipChat or give us a call, 989-774-3691. Joe tweets in. He's always our hockey guy. One of them anyway, rabid Red Wing fan. Listening. Here you go. Wings in 7. Mrazek with a shutout in Game 7. Hashtag wishful thinking.
Okay,
hashtag chip chat.
It is wishful thinking, Joe. We appreciate the tweet.
there's no reason anybody could sell me the Red Wings are going to win the series. You might be able to sell me to a 6-game series where you lose, but I'm staying right now Tampa Bay in 5 games because I just think there's and what they have on the blue line and the inconsistency in net, and when you have Tampa Bay's offense that scores 3.2 goals a game, the number 1 offense in hockey, I think that is going to be too much, and it's not going to be a contest. I think maybe you're in a game or two, maybe Mrazek steals a game, and that gives me 5.
Excuse me. It's nice that all Red Wings are healthy going into this series, right?
Final issue.
Yeah, behind besides Eric Cole.
Well, yeah, Datsuk Zetterberg should play, Kronwall should play. Those guys sat in the last
I was
game.
referring specifically to Datsuk.
Then you should have just said Datsuk. But he's going to play. That's all the indication anyway so far. And you're right. I think he could do a nice job on Stamkos, but Tampa Bay is not just Stamkos. And I think that's maybe a misconception for people out there.
Yeah. Anthony tweets in, Wings in 7. And Tampa is scary, but they were scary and swept last season.
The big difference, Ben Bishop didn't play last year.
Yeah.
And he's going to get his first postseason experience this year, and he's been really good against the Red Wings. And Tampa Bay is just really built well. Like, Victor Hedman's one of the best defensemen on the blue line in all of hockey. Stamkos is one of the best scoring forwards in all of hockey. And then Ben Bishop, I think, is an above-average goal. Then certainly you could even chalk that one up for Tampa Bay. I think they're just the better team top to bottom.
Yeah, I think it's a bad formula if you're the Wings, right? I mean, you got a bad defense against the top offense. That doesn't bode well.
Joe tweets back in and says, or Mrazek steals 4 games.
Well, because you're just saying that he's going to steal one. He's just
going
to win you a game.
I think he can shut him out. 1 game. You play 4 or 5 games.
He's going to score 3 goals.
Lap shot for goal. Just all the way down, ricochet off the boards. What, Lidstrom scored from center ice back in 02? It could happen.
Sweet.
1-0 win. Mrazek scores the goal and saves 46 shots.
Let's get back to the Tigers.
Okay, let's get to the Tigers. Biggest reason that they're 6-0. That's another thing in the mix as well. To me, it is obviously the offense. I think that's the reason they're undefeated. Brad Ausmus, some of his maturity in year 2 to me is why they've taken steps forward, because I think he's handled it really well. I haven't had any gripes when he's pulled starting pitching. I think he's let guys go until they've run out of gas, and then he's turned it over to the bullpen. And sure, some of those guys haven't been great, but he's handled the starting pitching as early. And I think most importantly, those bullpen decisions haven't been magnified because they maybe masked some of Ausmus's biggest flaws last season, which was bullpen management. But he's done a good job pinch hitting guys. They aren't bunting. They have 1 bunt so far.
Right.
And they're aggressive on the base paths. I think he's pushing all the right buttons. They're first in steals, meaning they're not just going to let their hitters hit. They're going to try to get guys in scoring position and use some of the guys at the top.
Meaning they steal bases.
Right. Yeah. And they don't bunt guys. I think last year he did that a lot. Just said, listen, this guy can't hit. Well, bunt, statistically, not a good situation to be bunting guys over. So I think right now he's learning from year 2. Matchups make more sense. The McCann pinch hitting situation on Saturday, that was him using the matchups, using experience, and support with numbers. And I really like what we've seen from Ausmus. So offense is clearly the top offensive baseball, and half the team's hitting 400 or better. But Ausmus is doing a nice job pulling the strings so far.
Well, you said there that they're not bunting to move runners over. They tried to against Cleveland the other day. Rajai Davis stepped into the plate, no outs in the top of the 9th. 4 straight pitches, you walk Rajai Davis. They trying.
Yeah. Not good.
That's no decision that Ausmus has to make, but yeah.
No, you're right. But I think it's also being masked because Minnesota's terrible. But 6-0 is 6-0.
They're like a blind church team.
But the offense has been great. First 3 starting pitchers have been great. I think Ausmus has last year so far in year 2. A lot to be excited about if you're a Tigers fan so far. Obviously, they're going to play a lot more games, but 6-0 is a great feeling to start the season.
I'm going to simply say the offense is the reason they're 6-0. Okay.
Who specifically in the offense? You didn't expect this. Nobody expected this offense. I mean, I thought it was going to be a really good offense, but why have they been so...
I think the hitting's been contagious so far. They've obviously smacked the baseball, and I'm not going to look too deep into it. I mean, it's the Minnesota Twins that they scored a lot of these runs on. But then they came against Cleveland Indians, and they saw Kluber in that series, right?
Yeah, he was wiping them out.
Yeah, it was not good. But, I mean, the offense is great. And the discussion that we brought up in the first segment at 7 o'clock hour was, is this a discussion, or is this a team that you can at least discuss 1,000 runs during the regular season? We looked it up. The most runs in Tigers history came all the way back in like 1930.
1934, they scored 958 runs.
So did they get there? Maybe it's not 1,000 runs, but did they get there? Who knows?
Well, they were 757 last year. And even if you like Seth, I don't know how you're getting 200 more runs than last year, because nobody in baseball had 800 last season. I think it's going to be, right now, I feel pretty good saying this is the best offense in baseball, because 1 through 6, slumps or not, those are great hitters. And then even 7 through 9, Castellanos, Iglesias, whatever you're playing around in there, they're not good, but they can have spurts, and we're seeing it just happen to coincide with the start of the year.
History behind it to get to 1,000 runs since 1950. It was the 1950 Red Sox. They had 1,027 runs. 7 of 9 starters on that team hit .310 or better. I don't think that happens in today's day and age of baseball. That just doesn't happen. They scored 1,027 runs. And then the 1999 Cleveland Indians. And like I said, heart of the steroid era. We don't know if any of them are juicing, but you can assume that a good bit of it is. Ramirez had 165 RBI. They were ridiculous, and I think we both looked at each other and said, that might have been the greatest offense of all time. Now, is this the greatest offense of all time?
If you're going to tell me that 6 games in, we're going to have a longer conversation. But
yeah,
I don't think
we're going to have to knee-jerk a little bit more. We're going to be kicking each other underneath this table that we're at.
So another tweet comes in talking about the Red Wings finally getting some of that delayed response. Wings in, he says, better than last year's matchup. So he goes 7 games, Wings win. So Joe has 7. This guy has 7. Everybody's feeling Wings in 7. The upset special.
It's good for them.
Do we have some people that are listening that aren't just absolute homers? Sorry, Joe. People that aren't absolute homers. Right, because I don't see a scenario where you're all of a sudden going to get great goal in games.
Right.
When they haven't gotten great goalie play for the last 2.5 months.
Right.
So it's just too staggering for me.
Jim, we talked about it earlier on in the show, the new ESPN.com format. Haven't gotten any reaction on Twitter. You guys must not go on ESPN.com as much as we thought, but we wanted to continue to get your reaction on that, your thoughts on the new ESPN.com format. And obviously it came out last week on April. It was an April Fools by ESPN. That's not giving away what I thought about it, right?
Well, there's a lot of feelings. I think anytime you change, people don't like change, but there's specific things with the site that I'm sure people have pointed out.
And we wanted to give it a week because I think every time change like this is made where something you're really used to, you obviously don't like it, but you have to get used to it. Change is made for the better. We'll tell you our thoughts on that on the outside of the break, but then also at 8:20 coming up next after the break as well. Michigan State fans are hypocrites. Jim is calling them out, and we'll tell you that after the break as well. Come back with us. Chip Chat, More Rock Radio 91.5.
More Rock is never a bad thing. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our domain, 91.5.
Big Brothers Big Sisters presents 100 Years of Helping Kids.
Today, Kyle and his big brother Justin, hello,
Hi.
are here to share some stuff we've learned.
With kids, it's not always what you say.
Hey Kyle, you want to go to a foreign film festival?
Nah, that's boring.
Okay. For a foreign film festival?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
From time to time, a kid may double dare you.
Wow, that looks heavy. Bet you can't lift it.
Are you serious?
I double dare you.
Okay. See? I told you! Uh-oh.
A big difference in the life of a child. To find out the many ways you can help support kids in your community, call 1-888-412-BIGS or go to bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
That's bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
This message brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters and the Ad Council.
Until next time.
What is United Way?
United Way is a nonprofit agency to advance the common good.
United Way is a nonprofit organization driven by community goals.
At United Way, our mission is to engage our fellow citizens throughout Isabella County in a community-wide effort to support human services that improve people's lives. We raise money that are then invested into projects that support education, health, income, and basic needs, ultimately helping educate our children, care for our seniors, assist those with disabilities, and provide hope and opportunity for families who are struggling to meet their most basic needs.
It brings the community together through causes and events.
United Way, it changed to make our world a better place.
You know, one person may not be able to do a lot, but collectively, we can have a huge impact within the community.
Special Olympics Michigan. Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Special Olympics Michigan is headquartered, and we reach out to 18,600 athletes all around the state. Our athletes are children and adults with intellectual disabilities. Our programs give them the opportunity to participate in up to nearly 24 sports.
There's a lot of different Special Olympics volunteer opportunities that we have throughout the year. Everything from state event volunteers, which are our larger events, come cheer on the athletes. You can keep to being a coach, and there's a number of ways to get involved with that in order to actually work with the athletes and coach them.
Special Olympics worldwide has grown to reach out to 3.5 million athletes in over 180 countries.
If you would like to help the Special Olympics Michigan, please contact us at 989-774-3911.
Funding for WMHW comes from Freddy's Tavern off West High Street, 705 South Adams. Freddy's, lunch, dinner, and drinks, darts, pool, flat screen TVs, and a jukebox. Open at 10 a.m. Monday through Saturday, Sundays at noon, and every night till 2 a.m. More information at Freddy's Tavern MI, More Rock Radio 91.5.
More rock is never a bad thing. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our domain for all things rock. More Rock Radio 91.5.
It's been a big day for Miggy. Oh, Miggy, stop there. That thing is belted way back and gone. I mean, it's like BP for this guy today. Big fella.
It pretty much was BP for Miguel Cabrera today. Hits 2 home runs. Tigers win 8-5, improved to 6-0 so far. He's on another planet to start the year. We had one listener call him the Venice 11 for 14 against Cleveland this weekend, and he's part of the Tigers offense that is unrivaled. I mean, they're on pace to score, and all the on-pace stuff are ridiculous at the start of the year.
6 million runs.
Yeah, 1,200 runs on the season, which would be the most ever.
8,000 runs.
They're scoring like 8 runs a game right now. The Tigers' offense is really humming. Brad, the thing changed their website. They went in and did it. It's different now. Everything you knew is now a lie. You have to go to different places to find different things. And the question really is it just another change you're going to get used to, or are you really frustrated with this new ESPN.com website? And I think the story so far with the new website, but ESPN has switched their website. I'll go to love it, but I hate it right now, and that's okay to hate it right now.
You're a hater, Jim.
It's just harder. I was used to where everything was.
I was going to say, these things happen, and this is one of those things where, like you said, you have to look at the change and tell yourself, give it a month, give it a week, give it a
year,
month,
give it a decade,
give it a year, give it a decade.
2 decades.
Maybe it is better. The reason why they switched was to become more conducive with the mobile site. I've noticed no change on my mobile site though on my phone, which is kind of weird.
It's coming, Brad.
It's coming. Yeah. Okay. It happened on April Fool's Day, and obviously Twitter was abuzz when it happened. Oh. What is this? Why are my favorites taking up half my screen? I mean, I just went to the page right now. You have the top bar with scores, then you have the ESPN bar, and then you have an advertisement, and by the time you actually get to content, you're halfway down your page. I don't like it.
It feels a lot more like clickable. Like, is it you should be drawing your attention over to click versus the old website. It felt like, okay, you got scores at the top, some videos.
And you had headlines like people what people were talking about. Oh, okay. I finally actually found the top headlines.
They're
on
like
this page.
shrunk and they're like rammed in and around videos and photos.
Right.
It's
and
too busy to me.
There's more advertisements. There's white background with gray text that you can barely read. Customization thing. I don't like more customization for things like this. And maybe I'm old-fashioned like that. I don't really understand. My friends call me a grandpa because I'm very stubborn in some of the things that I do. But I don't like customization in the way that they're doing. They have the favorites bar, so whatever you favorite. I didn't even know I had favorite teams on ESPN. I must have set them up 5 years ago, whatever it is. I like when people see all the same message, and that's what they were getting with ESPN. Everybody saw the same message. They weren't getting just the scores of their favorite teams, and I'm sure you could do that somehow on ESPN.com. But my entire sidebar now is Central Michigan football. They're not even in season. I don't want them on my sidebar.
Well, just the more favorites you have, the longer the bar goes down the side. The thing that's really bothered me is I used to always go to the top line, the box score.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
But like right now, so the Yankees are playing the Red Sox, and I want to click on just the box score. I don't want Gamecast because it pulls up a different window and is really obnoxious and loads and plays videos.
Oh, what the?
But see exactly. You clicked on it right now. It immediately forces you into Gamecast. I don't want to go to Gamecast.
I just want the box score.
I want the box score so I can get the number really quick. Hey, how many strikeouts does so and so have?
Well,
I
too
missed
bad
it.
B. Let's see, schedule.
You could find your team, and then you have to go in. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
And then this thing goes full screen with an ad halfway down the page.
Much like the first time you went to the ESPN website and had to learn how to navigate it, whenever that was, years ago, over a decade ago.
But I've given this a week now, Jim.
Yeah, we're going to have to give it more. Eventually, you're going to find those same shortcuts to find the data you want, to find the team you want, to get your stories the way you used to. You're going to have to find a different way to do it. And this is a lot like a lot of things, though, right? It changes. People hate the change initially, but it is going to be something where if you get used to it, hopefully you're getting more out of it.
I don't think this is one of those things that I'm going to get used to.
Well, you're going to go to the website 4 times a day, and then you're going to get used to know exactly where to go. And
I'll
I like
never
this new
come back. No.
There's probably stuff on there, and I know there's stuff on there I haven't seen or used or utilized yet that eventually we're going to figure out.
Every single picture has a play button on it.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's too many clickables, too many things to pull you. But that's like ADD, internet. It almost feels too bloggy and not like ESPN.com.
You understand?
Source.
Maybe is my screen different than your ad in the middle of my face?
Got to get that ad revenue, man.
Game of Thrones tonight, 9 o'clock. We'll be competing in it on HBO.
Yeah, well, geez. We just lost our whole audience. Thanks for that, Brad. Maybe if there was one person out there that forgot that it was airing tonight, we lost them. They're gone. We did get a tweet coming in from Chris talking about the ESPN.com website. Says, not a fan to it. But it wasn't broke to begin with. Why fix it? Use the hashtag ChipChat. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's what they always say. But I think there is something to be said for not being stale and trying to change. Right? There is, Brad. Just trust me on that one.
Brad's just being very grandpa-ish over this.
So, to get into, because it just dawned on me when I woke up on Thursday.
Right,
and
just
saw the
came
news.
to you.
It just came to me. We've heard from fans that the coaches that go for one-and-dones, those are slimy coaches. People don't like Kentucky for the one-and-done. Duke does it too. People don't like Duke. They're not doing it the right way. They're not building from within and developing people. They don't want the 5 stars. Those 5 stars go to the coaches that basketball is pure when you bring in the hard-working blue-collar guy and he busts his butt. Well, Michigan State just signed Caleb Swanigan, number 8 player on ESPN, 5-star. He picked MSU over Cal, Duke, and Kentucky. Those sound like a lot of those schools, one-and-done types of players, and
Never
Caleb
heard of
Swanigan is the number 8 player on ESPN. Now, Izzo gets the biggest figure something up for me. Do you like getting these one-and-done players? Is college basketball being ruined by John Calipari? Did Izzo just pull a seat up next to that table with him? You're bringing in the same players. Calipari wanted this guy. Now you got him. You're sitting at the big boy table. That's what every Michigan State fan has been about. And I shouldn't make the generality and say every Michigan State fan, but there are a lot of fans Kentucky and the one and done, and they're slimy, and they're exploiting the system. But as soon as Izzo gets a guy who is a one and done caliber, who knows if this guy's going to declare or not, but he's in the discussion with guys that are going to declare, the guys that are ones and dones, and he brings them in. Michigan State fans love that they got their 5-star. So it's only okay when they do it. It's only okay that when they do it. Perfectly. This is him after the title game loss.
Every player that's played through the program, okay? We don't do a rent-a-player, you know what I mean? Try to take a fifth-year guy or whatever, and that's okay. If other people do that, that's great. I like build from within. It's just the way I am.
Rent be there for 1 year and done. That's not him.
Why does that matter?
Can I ask Bo Ryan why he was recruiting Diamond Stone, a 6'10 center from Milwaukee in the state, one-and-done label, Wisconsin actively going after this rent-a-player who chose Maryland and love your guys. You love when you get the 5 stars. You should be happy when you get a blue chipper. I'm not saying that. But don't rip the other coaches who are doing it when you can't do it. Don't be ripping Calipari. Don't be ripping Krzyzewski for using the one-and-done mentality to win championships, because Izzo was all over Jabari Parker. He was all over Jahlil Okafor. They wanted those players. Now they get Caleb. You are one of these people now. You should be happy getting the blue chipper. Everyone wants these guys. Your team finally got one. So you become what you hate, but your hate was misplaced in the first place. You always wanted these guys. So I have an issue. So Michigan State fans need to tell me whether it's okay to go after these ones and dones. Now that they got one, I'm sure everyone's going to say yes. But when Jabari Parker doesn't understand, and this one and done is ruining college basketball, and now they're getting a guy who could go one and done. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll develop under Izzo. But you heard it from Bo Ryan. That's that mindset that a lot of fans have when they don't get the guy. We don't do rent-a-player. Bo, you were trying to rent a player 2 weeks ago. So what are you saying?
I mean, I should. But I'm just a college kid, and he's a coach that's made it to the Final Four. But when you say something like that you don't believe in that, you're not going to go out and get a fifth-year senior, Thomas Rawls to compare to somebody on the Central Michigan campus, a guy like Jahlil Okafor and Jabari Parker, one-and-done players. Why? Why can't you be that program that gets the best players possible? Because you want to that does it for 4 years. See how that far got you? You didn't win the national championship. You lost to a one-and-done program in Duke. You lost to one-and-done players in Jahlil Okafor and Tyus Jones, 2 top 5 recruits in the 2014 class. They came to Duke, not Wisconsin, and they won a national championship. So maybe you should rethink what you're saying. Maybe you should play better and then crying that you're the team that does it the right way. You can hold your chest as high as you want, Bo Ryan. Nobody cares.
But the thing is, if Bo Ryan got Diamond Stone, would he say we don't do rent-a-player? He was recruiting a top 10 player on ESPN.com, trying to get that guy to come to his school that would very likely leave within 1 year. And McYard has said the same thing for years. We bring guys in, we get sophomores, juniors, seniors. They go to Final Fours if they're staying for their whole 4 years. We're big on development. We don't want those guys. And they don't even say we don't want those guys out and out, but the way that they chastise and go after a Calipari or go after a Krzyzewski or just the system itself and belittle the coaches, they wouldn't do that. Izzo's been in all of those places trying to get those same guys. He's been next to John Calipari trying to do this for years. So you need to recognize that. I'm not saying don't be happy about your 5-star. You should. But I'm saying stop ripping the other guys that have been doing it for years now that you finally get at the big boy table.
So what do you want to hear from State fans here then?
Well, I want them to just acknowledge it. I mean, they can either they're hypocrites or they're changing their ways, right? Because you can't rip Calipari and love that you're bringing in a potential one and done. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Wow.
That's the reality, right? I mean, that is what you're exposing. It hit me the other day when I'm looking at it going, wow, they got a really good player. Spartan fans love it. Would they still love it if he chose Kentucky?
Well,
right?
Well, this Michigan State recruiting class has turned into something pretty good now.
It's going to be pretty good. They got the number 1 kid in the state of Michigan now, and then this kid, Swanigan's out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. So they're bringing in 2 really good players, and they're going to retool. I mean, Michigan State, again, is going to be a scary team in the Big Ten.
Well, I know a lot as soon as they got the signee was, look, they're not going to have, players off the bench. They're going to have hold your horses back. Kentucky had 5 top 15 guys the year last year, and then this season had another group of 3 top 10 guys, I believe, according to most recruiting sites. You have one guy in the top 10. It's the first guy that you've gotten. It's the first time Izzo's ever gotten a top 10 player, correct?
Yes.
Or first in the last 12 years. Gary Harris was a number 11 guy according to ESPN.
And done it wasn't, and it's because Tom Izzo doesn't go for one and dones. If Gary Harris wasn't injured at the end of that season, or if he wasn't
would have
nicked
went
up
to the draft.
Absolutely, because his stock was right there in that late lottery area, and because he was nicked up, came back to school. And that could be the case for Caleb Swanigan, but I think if top 10 caliber player, a guy with a 7-foot wingspan as a center.
Have you seen his game at all?
I mean,
Bill highlights?
A little bit of highlights since he signed.
Yeah, I don't really like players that are his frame. I mean,
he's 6'8" as a center.
He's like 6'7", 270, isn't he?
Yeah, huge, thick guy. They call him Biggie.
Biggie.
That's his nickname.
Okay. Well, I don't really like guys like that.
But you can't. Well, yeah. So, and I've heard this. Like, well, you don't know he's declaring. I know he's after 1 year. And your coach just went for him and just signed him. Welcome to the big boy table. Welcome to the slimy table. You can shake that greasy hand of John Calipari's.
Yeah.
Or you can just admit that that's how college basketball operates and that you're getting great players. And Bo Ryan can continue. But here's the thing. You want those players, and you are actively recruiting those players.
Yes.
Maybe one day you'll get the next Diamond Stone, and you'll stop lying to the people.
Wow.
Probably not, though, right? Because he just came out and said we don't do run a player.
Right.
So if you're a one and done, don't go to Wisconsin.
Correct.
They don't want you there. They don't want talented players at Wisconsin. That's the thing he needs to realize. Bo Ryan benefits from one and done because he's going up against Jaleel Okafor, who's
Kaminsky.
If Jaleel Okafor had to stay, think about this. If you couldn't go pro until 4 years passed, Anthony Davis would be a senior at Kentucky this year.
Wisconsin would not be a program.
They would be a team that would make the tournament.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be in the Final Four. Bo Ryan needs to realize that's an advantage to him. If he does miss out on those guys and find the right next tier guys,
that's when you could have the discussion about Kentucky beating an NBA.
4th year. I mean, he's one of the best players in the NBA, and he would still be at Kentucky if it wasn't for the ability to leave early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one big thing that I took out of this Caleb Swanigan signing.
989-774-3691. Tigers in the mix. Red Wings playoff appearance in the mix against Tampa Bay. Why are the Tigers 6-0? Will the Wings win? Keno Davis gets an extension as well. We talked about ESPN.com format. We want to continue to get your thoughts on that. We've had some tweets getting filtered in. We'll continue to read those on the air. Another thing, though, coming up at 8:50, Jim, once you hear this, and it was something that you heard, and I know we got some audio attached with this as well. Once you hear this, you will not think of Mel Kiper the same way. It has nothing to do with Frank Caliendo. It has everything to do with what he eats and how he eats it. We'll tell you that at 8:50. But coming up next, the Wings will be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. Jim and I don't think they're going to win a first-round playoff series, but we talked about it earlier on. There is one reason why Tampa Bay Lightning fans are concerned, and also if you're a Red Wings fan, there's multiple reasons for you to be concerned. We'll get into that next on Chip Chip.
A little rock never hurt, so how about more? Only on More Rock Radio, 91.5.
With Facebook having over 500 million users, my guess is that you're using it right now. So what are you waiting for? Search WMHW More Rock so you can stay up to date with everything from the DJs on air, upcoming events, giveaways, and special insider information only available when you subscribe. Keep it tuned here from 95 till now, More Rock Radio 91.5.
Portions of programming on WMHW are sponsored by Isabella Bank. To a better life. With 27 locations throughout mid-Michigan, Isabella Bank proudly donates to WMHW Student Radio at Central Michigan University. More Rock Radio 91.5 appreciates financial support from Isabella Bank, servicing mid-Michigan since 1903. More information online at isabellabank.com.
MHTV, the Michigan Association of Broadcasters' #1 college TV station, broadcasting on cable channel 97 and Central Michigan University's campus channel 34. MHTV features programs such as Central View, MHTV Sports, and adventurous hands-on experience athletes by participating in a variety of available product-winning television station gives students the experience they need to prepare for what's next. To contact MHTV, email morehalltelevision@gmail.com.
Hi, this is John Bon Jovi, asking you to go to serve.gov to get involved in something you believe in. We can tackle the tough challenges we face and build community through service and volunteering. The reality is, we're all in this together. It's time for you to raise your hand and make a difference. United we stand. Are you with me? Go to serve.gov for more information about how to volunteer in your community.
This message is brought to you by United We Serve Service.
Jen, last week, you just need some new earrings and you'll feel a lot better.
When a friend tells you they've been diagnosed with a mental illness, it can be a little awkward. But what's even more awkward is, if you're not there for her, she'll be less likely to recover.
Jen, last week, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
What a difference a friend makes. To learn more, go to What a Difference, Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Remember the time you almost volunteered to work in a soup kitchen? Or when you almost visited the Veterans Hospital? Or when you almost brought dinner to your neighbor with AIDS? Remember all the times you almost helped? Only human, this almost giving. But the truth is, it's the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give, give. Visit our website at don'talmostgive.org. A message from the Ad Council.
It's not religion. It's not a revolution. It's rock and more rock. Rock Radio 91.5.
So the Red Wings are going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round of the NHL playoffs, and Red Wing fans that want to go down there and go to the game are going to have a tough time because Tampa Bay is not selling Florida residents, and they'll find that out through your credit card billing information where they send the stuff. They are not selling to you if you are up here in Detroit or if you are not in Florida. Now, you might have friends down there, and there's going to be a great black market of ticket sales for this, right? People are going to buy these tickets and sell them on the secondary markets. But it's just such a weak thing to do for Tampa Bay, right? This is such a huge... We have no fans, so we need to try to get 3 more guys in by refusing to sell them to Red Wing fans outright. The Red Wings are still going to go into that arena. The fans are still going to have Red taking over. And there were times this season where they went down there, and there was a wall of Red taking over because there's not the fan base down there that there is up here in Michigan. And I think Tampa Bay is just being very... because they won't sell tickets to Detroit Red Wing fans.
I'm not going to take it as far as you are.
Well, what happens when they don't sell any tickets?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're going to end up selling them to Red Wing fans.
I think it's stupid. I mean, what if you have fans in Georgia of the Tampa Bay Lightning that only go to playoff games?
Well, it might be a secret Red Wing fan.
What if you have season ticket holders for the Tampa Bay Lightning that don't live in Florida?
Secret Red Wing fan. Red Wing
I'm
fans.
sure there's not many people
Hey,
that
if you're a
have
Lightning
season
fan, you'll move down and get your residence in Florida.
Yeah, you'll like Florida that much.
Got some tweets coming in about the last topic we talked about, which was Michigan State landing a big-time recruit, but what does it mean for fans that have refused to acknowledge the one and done as a viable way and have poo-pooed it? Chris tweets in and says, I think a lot of the hate that has been from MSU is missing out on. Still isn't justify the hate for Cal and Coach K. Happy for Izzo more than anything. Recruited Parker and Okafor the longest, finally gets his guy. No issue with that. The issue I had was with Spartan fans who said for years that Calipari was slimy and doing it the wrong way, and then Michigan State gets a guy that Calipari wanted in the top 10, their highest prized recruit, and now it's okay. It's a good thing they want to call attention to that in the last segment.
Is that the only tweet we have in right now?
Well, that's the last one we have on the Cal and MSU stuff. But we've been asking people for their predictions for the Stanley Cup playoffs, Red Wings and Lightning. I said Lightning in 5 games. Brad, of course, copied me and said Lightning in 5 games.
I said Lightning in 5 during the break first.
I said it first on the air, though, which means you copied where it matters. The people at home don't know that, Brad. And then we're asking people why the Tigers are 6-0 right now. The biggest reason, anyway, and I think it's the offense. We both said that. But I'm giving a lot of credit to Brad Ausmus and the job he's done so far and making some smarter moves with the platooning at the top of the order, the handling of the pitching staff, not bunting as often and running aggressively. I like what he's done.
Russell Westbrook just went off again tonight, 54 points.
LeBron James is my MVP, Brad.
Really?
No, I don't know. This is such a tough conversation. It depends what you value, and I'm sure we'll have that conversation
next week.
Yeah, next week when we get close to the award. But, yeah, you've got James Harden, Steph Curry.
21 of 43 from the field.
He's shooting I think that's the most attempts in 40 a game
Seriously?
like a decade ago.
That's
ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah, he finished with 54 and nothing.
But the Red Wings specifically, you talked about a reason that Tampa Bay fans are worried. And why would they be worried? They score more goals per game than anybody else. They're facing a team that doesn't have consistent defense and doesn't know who their goalie is. Well, one reason that people have pointed out that could keep Tampa Bay from winning the Cup, because
winning the Cup, I think it's a discussion that people like us have locally about
ESPN. When they were running their preview for the series, they brought this up as a concern.
Stupid. We talk about last season going into the NBA playoffs, Washington. No playoff experience.
Well, that's the thing. Ben Bishop, the goalie for Tampa Bay, has 0 playoff experience. And that is one thing that is at least keeping them from picking a Stanley Cup team. Now, that doesn't mean it will keep them from winning the first round, and I don't think it means anything real. You don't have playoff experience. Ben Bishop's a really good goalie, and he's the better goalie in this matchup. So you have better offense, better goalie, better defense, all on Tampa. They have home ice. I mean, you're crazy if you're picking the Red Wings. Now, we've had people tweet in and say Red Wings in 7, which is them saying they're going to lose, but I'm going to say Red Wings in 7. I said 5 because I think maybe Mrazek steals a game, but I don't see them winning the series.
Okay.
And your point earlier, which I thought was a really good one, we still don't know the goalie, because they haven't announced it, and the way Babcock has handled it, you and I have both been very critical of.
It sucks. It really does. I mean, we said 2 weeks ago on this show, make Mrazek the guy. Forward with the young core players that you have. Don't hold on to Jimmy Howard, who has been statistically worse, goals against average, save percentage. They've been worse record-wise in the games that Jimmy Howard has played. Nearly 500, 23 and 22 counting overtime losses. Peter Mrazek 16 and 11. If you don't want to play the win-loss game, 9 10 in save percentage. Goals against average, a full 1/10 of a point better for Peter Mrazek. The stats are there. The confidence is there in your defense when Peter Mrazek plays. He has the shutout victory over Tampa Bay already this season under his belt. 4-0 win in March. He's the guy that, if you want to say, look, he's got no playoff experience, and we talk, look, 23-year-olds don't just get thrown into playoff hockey. They just don't. They don't get thrown into playoff hockey. The only one that you can look at in the NHL right now was Carey Price. He got his first playoff start as a lead starting goaltender at the age of 20. But guess what? Peter Mrazek, I don't think, is Carey Price. I don't think he's the best goalie in the NHL, or will be anytime. I think he's Carey Price. You can't just throw a 23-year-old in the goal. That's not what we're saying. I think you concede the loss in this series, and if you're the Red Wings and you don't want to say that to yourselves, which you can be honest with yourselves and say that, look, we're not going to win the series, but you obviously want to give yourselves a puncher's chance. Build for the future. Peter Mrazek needs the experience now. Give him the starts now.
So you mentioned it, the shutout that Mrazek had. That's the only win. I think people have really looked at this matchup because this was thought to be the series for much of the season. Tampa's 3-1 against the Red Wings. The goal totals, it's 12-9 in those 4 games. And Ben Bishop, who we've said is a potential weakness, has actually been really good in those games. 2.0 goals against, 920 save percentage. He's going to be a brick wall, 6'7" goal he's going to really trouble with. It's one of those things where I think if you weren't a Red Wing fan, you're really going to enjoy this series. because both teams are fast, speed hockey teams.
It's going to be good hockey.
Well, and there's not going to be this bruising and forcing where one team is struggling to play the other team's style. I think from that standpoint, they're going to play the same style. Both teams want to skate up and down and play more talented finesse players in space, and it gets a lot of shots off. The problem is Tampa Bay is the better version of that, and they play defense and have a goalie. So I think if you're a Red Wing fan, you're not going to enjoy losing games 4-3 or 3-2, or even games where Tampa scores 5 goals. You're not going to like those games. But if you were just a hockey fan, you're going to like some of the this is the best hockey. I don't like the game where you're cluttering around the blue line and you're using left wing loft, elbow guys into the boards. To me, that's not the fun hockey. I think you're going to see fun hockey. I just don't think the Red Wings are going to win.
5-game series.
5-game series, you and I both feel that way.
989-774-3691, the number to call. And we're going to take it to a break. But when we come back, some audio from him. He was on ESPN, I believe.
Yeah, ESPN radio, and when you hear what he said, you are never going to look at him the same way ever again.
Okay.
It's huge.
Okay.
I no longer have any respect for this man.
Send it to break.
Chip Chat, More Rock Radio 91.5.
Funding for WMHW comes from Freddy's Tavern off West High Street, 7th. Lunch, dinner, and drinks, darts, pool, flat screen TVs, and a jukebox. Open at 10 a.m. Monday through Saturday, Sundays at noon, and every night till 2 a.m. More information at Freddy'sTavernMI.com. Freddy's Tavern supports More Rock Radio 91.5.
Sponsored by Isabella Bank. Say yes to a better life. With 27 locations throughout mid-Michigan, Isabella Bank proudly donates to WMHW Student Radio at Central Michigan University. More Rock Radio 91.5 appreciates financial support. Bank, servicing mid-Michigan since 1903. More information.
Programming on More Rock Radio 91.5 is brought to you by Microchips. Microchips is an Apple-authorized campus store providing students with computers, software, and accessories. Microchips is located on the lower level. It can be placed in-store, online at cmubookstore.com, and 41185. WMHW would like to thank Microchips for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
With Facebook having over 500 million users, my guess is that you're using it right now. So what are you waiting for? Rock Radio 91.5 and hit that like button so you can stay up to date with everything from the DJs on air, upcoming events, giveaways, and special insider information only available when you subscribe. Keep it tuned here from 95 till now, More Rock Radio 91.5. Are you by a computer? Then check More Rock Radio button. You can listen live to us anywhere you have the internet. On the go or at the office, you can find out about upcoming local shows and events. WMHW.org has you covered. Log on and check up on your favorite DJs and shows along with any other details you want. So keep it tuned here to WMHW.org and More Rock Radio 91.5.
It's not religion. It's not a revolution. It's rock and roll. More Rock Radio 91.5.
Ball is taken over mid-Michigan.
Tigers, Loons, Central Michigan baseball.
All of them winning today. It's been spectacular. I had one game on the radio, one game on the TV, one game I'm refreshing Twitter for to keep all of them going today. It was just a baseball kind of Sunday. And the one thing that we've also tried to hammer home is now the Red Wings know who they're playing in the first round. They're going to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that's going to be dropped for Game 1. It'll be in Tampa Bay again on Saturday. That's going to be a 3 o'clock puck drop, and then Wings will come home Tuesday and Thursday, and Brad, you and I don't see them getting much farther out than that. But Red Wing fans are going to have to buy their tickets on the secondary market because Tampa will not sell to people that don't have a Florida address. So that's the other thing that's been in the mix. We've been talking about that matchup and who you're getting in 5. So did Brad. Also asking you the Tigers 6-0 so far. What's the biggest reason? We both said it's the offense because it's been so spectacular, but I also gave a nice little shout-out to Brad Ausmus and the job he's done so far in his second season. Brad, Mel Kiper Jr., though. This guy. He was on ESPN Radio with Mike and Mike earlier in the week, and he made, once you hear this, I don't think you can look at him the same way.
Which are we more a fan of?
New York, not even close. I'm going to miss it actually this year.
Mel.
Chicago.
Yeah. Well, there was no. Whatever he said, were you going to go the other way?
Because I take the cheese off the pizza.
Oh no, you don't.
You take the cheese off the pizza.
Dude, really?
Once you take the cheese off the pizza, you do realize it ceases to be a pizza.
Right. It's dough.
Now it's just a
Dough
piece
with
of bread.
tomato sauce.
So like cheese.
No.
Any toppings?
No.
So you just
Wait a minute.
bread and
so
tomato
it's bread
sauce.
and
tomato sauce.
Well, I take a fork and I take the cheese when it immediately comes, so the grease doesn't get in there. I take the cheese off the pieces that I want, leaving for Kim and Laura and the rest. They're normal. They eat pizza normally.
At least he admits it. At least he admits he's not normal. Again, that's Mel Kiper on Mike and Mike earlier in the week on ESPN.
He was just saying, like, I don't take the cheese off the pizza, like the pizza, like some metaphorical pizza.
No, they were talking about pizza because they asked Chicago or New York-style pizza because the draft's in Chicago this year.
And Mel said, well, who cares? I take the cheese off the pizza anyway.
He gets Chicago-style and he takes the cheese off.
So the grease into it.
Cheese is like arguably the best part of pizza.
You're the pizza guy. No,
Everybody
you're the
differently.
pizza guy, though, Jim.
Well, but seriously, when you hear that he takes the cheese off the pizza, do you know anybody else that does that? Like, people are picky. I get it.
When
We
I
get
was
some weird things.
When
Some
I was
people
like
do ranch.
6 years old, I'm sure I had some friends that would show up to birthday parties that would take cheese off pizza.
Are you calling Mel Kiper a 6-year-old?
Yes.
With the fork, gets in there and he eats the pizza. Who eats pizza with a fork?
I eat pizza with a fork.
Really?
I think it's way easier.
I mean, they make it so that you can grab a slice of pizza and just bite it. Like, I know that's gonna shock you, but
No. I eat it with a fork and knife. If you got toppings on the pizza, you get to evenly distribute the toppings instead of having to bite in there, burn the top of your mouth. You get to cut it up. It's way easier. Don't eat pizza with a fork and knife. Just have too much self-pride, and they're like, you know what? I'm way too good for this. I'm gonna eat it with forks and knives. It's every single person I've ever seen that has eaten pizza with me that sees me eat pizza with a fork and knife.
I
can't do it. I gotta eat it with my hands. I gotta burn my mouth.
Well,
I gotta rip all the cheese off before I eat it.
Kiper, man.
Put your chest down.
Can you really judge his quarterback analysis?
Shea is better than him. Like, if I had to listen to Todd McShay or Mel Kiper for an hour, I'm choosing Todd McShay for an hour.
Quick coming in from Chris says, Cheese is the franchise player of the pizza organization. I'm eating a piece right now, and there's no way around it, Mel.
We get more Twitter interaction when Mel Kiper makes a stupid comment about pizza than when we have the Red Wings and the Tigers.
Well, it's really, people can be passionate about their pizza. Pizza, I think you have to call it into question. You have to start saying, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, I don't think you know the answer because you can't even eat pizza with the cheese on it.
Realistically, they should just suspend him from ESPN for this.
Well, I mean, that kind of comment on national radio with
what?
Children,
it's unbelievable.
Children in the car, and they're going to go, I'm going to take cheese off my pizza. I'm not raising a kid that's taking the cheese off of his pizza. You will eat the pizza with the cheese and the dough. And listen, you can have different toppings, Brad. You got a pizza before the show. You do crazy things. What'd you get on the pizza?
I do crazy things, huh?
Yeah, you're like a wild card. What'd you have on the pizza?
I'm a wild card, huh?
You ate it with the cheese on it, I assume.
Look at
it. That's pretty standard. Oh, yeah, we have it in here.
Got the extra large. There it is.
For the people that are watching on the YouTube stream, which is like 6 people, they can take a look at the pizza here. You can show that to the camera there. Yep. So we are on YouTube as well, and if you follow us on Twitter, we tweet out that link from time to time. But we realize a lot of people only listening on the radio. But this Mel Kiper thing, when I saw it during the week, it stopped me dead in my tracks because human being. I don't understand how people would eat a pizza that way.
Yeah. Would you rather see somebody eat it without the cheese or without the sauce? Because you can do that too.
We talked about this.
Yeah,
Because some people, and I think some people have like a red sauce. Like, I knew someone who couldn't eat red sauce. That was like, it gave him like really bad heartburn.
Okay, well, that guy's an idiot.
Well, then he just orders it without red sauce or
get a
does
white pizza.
Sure, or you just do cheese bread. Listen, but like, I don't, as far as I'm concerned, I think Mel Kiper eats cheese, just doesn't do it with pizza.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right. He also eats a slice of pumpkin pie every single morning.
Seriously?
Yes, that's another Mel Kiper fact.
Is that serious?
Yeah, that was in that same interview. He talked about pumpkin pie.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't we get the audio clip of that?
I think this was a bigger throw out to the people. Is this the weirdest pizza combination you've seen? Use the hashtag ChipChat.
It's not pizza.
Okay, the weirdest food combination dealing with pizza-like ingredients. 989-774-3691.
Best radio.
I know people do
you can hear.
ranch with the pizza. I'm not a ranch with the pizza kind of guy.
I'm not a condiment guy, so I wouldn't be the one to ask about that.
But that's something that people do as.
You put ranch on your ranch, don't you?
Basically.
Yeah, okay.
There are people like that. I think a lot of people in Michigan, I don't know if that's a thing everywhere, but I think a lot of people in Michigan need ranch
you're right.
with everything.
I think it is just ranch.
It's like a regional thing.
Sure.
And then obviously, and we've talked about the Tigers, and we want to keep it as sports possible as we can.
Sports possible.
Yes. So the Tigers 6-0. We told you offense is the big reason. Brad brought in a season, and he said, "Hey, why not 1,000 runs?" I saw some people talking about that, and we really started to dive in and realize it is nearly impossible. It's only happened twice since 1950.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's not a discussion that you can realistically have. It's a fun discussion after seeing the offense has been as good as it's been. But to give you an idea, the Tigers, the Tigers have scored 9 in history, the highest being 958. Last year, the Tigers, second in baseball with 757. The only team that's done it since the 50s is the 1999 Cleveland Indians, and they had some really good names on this team. Roberto Alomar, Manny Ramirez, who drove in like 160 runs, Omar
Completely
Vizquel,
steroid-free.
Kenny Lofton, and Jim Thome.
Completely
5 of those guys scored 100-plus runs. And they only got shut out 3 times the entire season. That, to me, is the most staggering number. 162 games, only 3 games.
Everybody on that roster completely steroid-free.
All of them, I'm sure. But that's arguably one of the greatest offenses in the history of baseball. And they were only at 1,009. So 1,000 is like a stupid number. It got brought up with like the 08 Tigers. Someone's going to bring it up that you'll see. Just know that it is very, very rare and nearly impossible.
But it's in the discussion. The
No, it's
discussion.
not.
The discussion is in the discussion.
Only because we brought the discussion up. Is it in the discussion?
Yes.
It's not a really reasonable discussion. This is the discussion to avoid the discussion.
Sure.
It's
We'll
discussion
talk about it next week.
If they keep hitting this way, we'll probably bring it up later.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Let's get to the Masters again, Jim. Jordan Spieth winning. My mom was excited about it. She texted the show and said that he broke all the records.
Nearly all of them.
What
right?
records, we don't know. But
well, Adam has them in the update. He had them at the 8 o'clock update, so you'll get all of them because I don't even have a full list.
His job over there.
Great producer. Anyway, so Spieth wins the Masters at 21 after 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then tied the record for the best Masters. Tiger also had a minus 18 before.
Multiple reasons why this was a weekend that the PGA needed to have. They did have it. Ratings will most likely dictate that, and of course we'll have those next week. We probably won't, but we'll have them. And I think it was a weekend that the PGA needed, and over for weeks to come. They had Tiger in the mix, they had Phil Mickelson in the mix, Jordan Spieth, Rory in the mix. All of that combined proved to be a great weekend for the PGA. We'll tell you a couple other reasons why next. Chip Chat, More Rock Radio, 91.5.
Remember the time you almost, or when you almost visited the Veterans Hospital with AIDS? Remember all the times you almost helped, almost gave? Well, it's only human, this almost giving. But the truth is, it's the same as not giving at all. Don't almost give, give. Visit our website at Message from the Ad Council.
More Rock Radio 91.5 is looking for nonprofit organizations or community groups that want to announce their events on our radio station. If you're looking to get the word out, contact us at community@wmhw.org. Then we can get your message out to the people all over Mid-Michigan. Please give us a 30-day notice in regards to your event so we can just remember community@wmhw.org. From your friends at More Rock Radio 91.5.
Funding for WMHW comes from Freddy's Tavern off West High Street, 705 South Adams. Freddy's, lunch, dinner, and drinks, darts, pool, flat screen TVs, and a jukebox. Sunday. at noon and every night till 2 a.m. More information at Freddy'sTavernMI.com. Freddy's Tavern supports More Rock Radio 91.5.
MHTV, the Michigan Association of Broadcasters' #1 college TV station, broadcasting on cable channel 97 in Central MHTV features programs such as Central View, MHTV Sports, and Adventurous Detectivist. While working for MHTV, students gain hands-on experience by participating in a variety of available production and executive staff positions. This award-winning television station gives students the experience they need to prepare for what's next. To contact MHTV, email morehalltelevision@gmail.com.
Rock Radio 91.5 comes from the CMU Bookstore. Located in the Bovey University Center on the north end of campus, the CMU Bookstore provides students with Central Michigan apparel and school supplies, including textbooks. Orders can also be placed online at cmubookstore.com or by calling 989-774-7493. WMH for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
More Rock Sports.
Miguel Cabrera leads the way for the Tigers with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs as they take down the Cleveland Indians 8-5 earlier this afternoon and complete the weekend sweep of the Cleveland Indians. The Tigers improved to 6-0 early on the season. Kyle Lobstein put in 3 earned runs, enough to get him his first victory on the season. The Tigers are back to work tomorrow in Pittsburgh for a 3-game set with the Pirates. Anibal Sanchez is the starter for Game 1. The Detroit Pistons took down the Charlotte Hornets earlier this afternoon, 116-77. Jody Meeks led all scorers with 24 points and was one of 6 Pistons to score in double figures. 19 rebounds. They'll take on the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow in Cleveland, tip at 7 o'clock. The Detroit Red Wings closed out their season yesterday with a 2-0 victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. Peter Mrazek had 31 saves on 31 shots in the shutout. The Red Wings will open up the 2015 Stanley Cup playoffs this Thursday as they enter a best-of-7 is at 7:30 in Tampa. We have a 2015 Masters Tournament champion, and it is 21-year-old Jordan Spieth taking home the green jacket. Spieth shot a Masters record 18 under par on the weekend, tying the mark Tiger Woods set in 1997. Now holds the Masters record for most birdies with 28. Quarterback is Spieth at 14 under. For More Rock Sports, I am Adam Abraham.
WMHW Mount Pleasant HD1 and HD2, More Rock Radio 91.5, a service of Central Michigan University School of Broadcasting Arts.
So there you have it. Jordan Spieth owns every record in the history of golf ever. Nearly, anyway.
That's an over-exaggeration.
He becomes the second 21-year-old to ever win the Masters. Tiger was also 21 when he won the Masters in 97 with that same score, the 18 under. And he the full leaderboard and let you know where everybody was. Tiger finished at 5 under and nowhere down the stretch. But in some ways, it's almost better that Spieth just won this in dominating fashion because it adds to it. Because everybody expected this guy to melt down. That was the conversation going into today. Would he handle the pressure? Would he choke? Because the only way he could lose is if he struggled today down the stretch. And he didn't. He kept going, wire-to-wire champion, and I think that was great for golf.
Yeah, great for golf. And I think a combination of many. One, Tiger Woods back in the mix. Were you excited to see him back in the mix, or are you one of those guys that wants to see Tiger suck?
No, I think it's better when you have Tiger in the mix. One, it's good for golf as a whole, and not that I have a whole bunch of stock in how good golf's doing, but I think it's fun when there's established brand against new guy in the mix, and he's the greatest golfer of our generation, and to see him hole for hole at the end, where did he
finish? Where did he finish?
Overall?
Yeah.
Well, he had the 5 under, like I said, which actually tied him for 17th.
So he brings home $155,000. That would be great. Just finish 17th in something that you do and just bring home $150K.
Well, they give you Nicholson in second with 14 under. Justin Rose.
How many times has Phil finished second in the Masters now? Like 6 times? I don't know.
Are they still counting? I mean, I think it's ridiculous.
Okay.
He's always the bridesmaid. But, yeah, he finishes second today down the stretch. But, yeah, Spieth with 18 under is phenomenal. So what does this mean big picture, though?
Interesting.
Does this – what does that do?
It helps, and to our point, and let's clear something up, our producer, Matt, was the
golfaholic he is.
The golfaholic that he is. He comes in. We touch on the fact that, this is great for the PGA, great for golf, Masters, high ratings, stuff like that. And we actually have some ratings. I'm going to get them to him. This isn't great for the PGA. So what are you talking about? What do you mean? Like this is like golf. It's PGA. It's Tiger Woods. It's Rory McIlroy. Well, to our dismay, Augusta, and I actually heard this on one of the broadcasts this weekend, Augusta National takes home every single benefit from this weekend. So the TV deals is through Augusta. The would be any other things that they would get money from, but everything is driven through Augusta National. Nothing is through the PGA. But to our point, next week, Jordan Spieth's going to be playing in a tournament that people are going to be more interested now, and that's going to benefit the PGA, right?
Well, yeah, anytime that he golfs now, he's the established brand. He has this as validation.
Well, and Tiger being back, who do you think makes a bigger difference, Tiger being back or
the next thing, right?
Well,
pops his bone out, then he said he popped it back in. Either way, he was golfing some of his best in a while, and if you do get him to continue to improve or to start to be relevant, because let's be honest, I mean, the name is always relevant, but his golf hasn't been relevant for at least a couple years now, right. And he hasn't won a major longer than that. But I think Spieth, being a guy that wins it at 21, I mean, not that Spieth is going to be Tiger, but that's undoubtedly what people are going to start talking about. Can he start to rattle off some majors and start to become the new face of golf?
Right.
I mean, that is taking.
What do you
that's
think?
Sprinting before we're walking, but that is what people are going to start to talk about, and that's what this does. It starts those conversations.
What have you thought of Spieth just personally? Have you
think, Coach?
Oh my God! Have you watched enough golf just in the last year at all to see how he handles himself on the course? I don't know if I like him.
Okay.
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people say, "Look, he's this mature 21-year-old kid. Nobody's ever been as mature as this guy." Well, that's all well and good. I don't know if I like the way he handles himself on the course. Is that like
Give
too
me an
bad
example.
to say? Carney's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Do you like how Tiger Woods
walks with a little bit of a swagger? He's Tiger Woods.
Spieth has some swagger.
Spieth's got a little whiny crybaby in him.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't know. I didn't watch him this weekend as much as I normally watch the majors. But, I mean, I've seen him in majors past where he'll miss a putt and just kind of get down on himself, shake his head, almost very 20-year-old-ish, as if I was on the golf course.
Have you watched Tiger miss shots?
I know, but it's different because he's 20 years old. Is that just my interpretation?
Yeah. Didn't Rory McIlroy a couple months ago snap a club and throw it into
a lake? Yeah, but that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Golf is weird.
Well, it's not for everybody, and it's honestly not something that I really watch. But this is big. This is a big deal. I mean, we're going to reap the benefits for quite a while. And it was interesting because you had Rory and Tiger in that grouping going to the final day. And we haven't talked about Rory, but obviously he was who everybody's looking to replace Tiger. They're always looking for the next Tiger. The fact that Rory golfed well this weekend, and obviously Spieth is going to be the only person anyone's going to be talking about. But I think that Spieth's performance, Rory golfing a good weekend, Tiger also golfing well, the names that people know. I'm not even a casual golf fan, and I knew all of these names going in, and they all performed well. So if you have that happening, and there are people that are watching this with much closer of an eye than I am, then they're certainly taking a lot out of this. This was certainly an enjoyable weekend to golf. Biggest thing for coming back. You have the storylines, but then you also want good golf, and everybody shot well on the
dictate that a rise from 2014. The Thursday and Friday overnight ratings are in. And let's see here. The Friday telecast completed ESPN's 2 days of live Masters coverage, with both days seeing ratings and audience growth over 2014. So from coverage, 2.1 U.S. household rating, average close to 3 million, 0.8 and 2.4. So that's up on Friday, which is, you have to build some momentum from Thursday to get those ratings on Friday. Thursday's ratings were the highest for a first round of any major in the last 5 years. So going into the tournament, the ratings were higher as well. Now, is that hype surrounding back? All that combined saw the increase too. And then all those names that people tuned in for on Thursday were in the running going into moving day and going into Sunday. So I'm sure we'll get the ratings, and they'll be maybe the highest they've been in 10 years, you know?
Well, it had all the makings of it, right?
Yeah.
I do want to know from you, do you think it would have been better ratings if Rory and or Tiger, and obviously Tiger's the bigger one, but if one looks back at the end like Tiger finished?
If they were close, if Tiger and Spieth were in the final pairing, if Tiger and Rory were in the pairing, if any one of those four were paired together in the final pairing going into the final day, I would have probably made it appointment viewing to make sure I turned it on my computer out in Midland today or wherever I was to make sure I was watching that 14, 15, 16, 17, 8.
Well, and I'll say the same thing. Like, as someone who did not watch other than a little bit of highlights here or there, and if it was on in the background, I watched it. If you told me, hey, Tiger's 3 strokes back, going to the back 9, Spieth's up on him, I have to watch. I have to watch just to see the outcome live, just to see the moment at the end, just to see if, one, Spieth holds off the legend, or if the legend is back. That would have, ratings through the roof. Most in 10 years, most 15 years, that would have pulled everybody. And I know it would pull everybody if it would have pulled me, right? If it's going to pull me, someone who's not trying to watch this, then yeah, this would have pulled everybody. So they did miss out on that, but I think Spieth certainly did a lot for the sport by winning.
Definitely did. Let's get a full receipt today. I want to continue to hear from you on Twitter. Also dialing the number 989-774-3691. If you're a golf guy, you want to call us about the Masters, go ahead. Feel free to do that, 989-774-3691. With the big stuff that we're pushing today, obviously ESPN.com, new format change. If you haven't visited ESPN.com yet, go ahead and do so. Give us your thoughts. Probably visited in the last week. Jim and I, not too fond of it just yet. We have one producer who does really like it. That's Keith. But
that's Keith.
That's Keith. Oh, just a quick sigh from the corner over there. No harm done to Keith. Also in the mix is the Tigers and the Red Wings. Obviously, two big things. Michigan. The Tigers, one of the most well-respected local teams in terms of TV ratings in all of Major League Baseball. They're off to a 6-0 start. We want to know why you think they've gotten to that 6-0 start. What's the biggest reason why? And is it stupid to discuss 1,000 runs for the season? It hasn't been done since 1999, right in the heart of the steroid era. It's completely different. There's definitely a discussion that could be had relating to that. And then also, will the Wings win a playoff series? Jim and I say no. They're going to be out in 5 games. Sorry to kill all you Red Wing homers. It's not a shot at you, Joe, on Twitter, but we know you're a big Red Wing guy.
Well, and then at 9:25, you got to give credit where credit's due over on the western part of the state.
More rock is never a bad thing. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our domain for all things rock. More Rock Radio 91.5.
What is United Way?
United Way is a nonprofit agency that brings people and communities together to advance.
Nonprofit organization driven by community goals.
At United Way, our mission is to engage our fellow citizens throughout Isabella County in a community-wide effort to support human services that improve people's lives. We run primarily employee workplace campaigns to raise it into projects that support education, health, income, and educate our children, care for our seniors, assist those with disabilities, and provide hope and opportunity for families who are struggling to meet their most basic needs.
It brings the community together through causes and events.
United Way, it brings people together and inspires them to create change.
One person may not be able to do a lot, but collectively we can have a huge impact.
More Rock Radio 91.5 is looking for nonprofit organizations or community groups that want to announce their events on our radio station. If you're looking to get the word out, contact us at community@wmhw.org. Then we can get your Please give us a 30-day notice in regards to your event so we can just remember community@wmhw.org. From your friends at More Rock Radio 91.5.
Funding for WMHW comes from Freddy's Tavern off West High Street, 70 lunch, dinner and drinks, darts, pool, flat screen TVs, and a Saturday, Sundays at noon, and every night till 2 a.m. More information at Freddy'sTavernMI.com. Freddy's Tavern supports More Rock Radio 91.5.
MHTV, the one college TV station, broadcasting on cable channel 97 and Central Michigan University's campus channel 34. MHTV features programs such as Central View, MHTV Sports, and Adventurous Detectivist. While working for MHTV, students gain hands-on experience by participating in a variety of available production and executive staff positions. This award-winning television station gives students to contact MHTV, email morehalltelevision@gmail.com.
Support for programming on More Rock Radio 91.5 comes from the CMU Bookstore. Located in the Bovey University Center on the north end of campus, the CMU Bookstore provides students with Central Michigan apparel and school supplies, including textbooks. Orders can also be placed online at 989-774-7493. WMHW would like to thank the CMU Bookstore for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
You rock out with us on the radio. Now let's rock on the web. Stream More Rock Radio from our website anywhere and everywhere on WMHW.org.
So because Mel Kiper takes the cheese off his pizza, we're going to have to look elsewhere for our mock drafts and NFL draft stuff as we get closer. Lions, you're going to be interested to see who they take in this latest one. Pro Football Talk put out, and they have the Lions taking Danny Shelton, defensive tackle out of Washington.
I'm okay with that. Let's move on.
Oh, okay, sweet.
No, I'm just kidding.
Danny Shelton's a guy you and I had talked about. I still think Malcolm Brown's the pick. I think he's more versatile.
You don't think it's Todd Gurley?
No, we're not going to go back
out?
into that. No. They do have, just for the record, in this Jameis Winston.
Pro Football Focus's first
Pro
mock
Football
draft?
Talk.
Oh, okay. Same
Yes,
thing.
yes. And it's the first and possibly only. They don't factor in trades. But, yeah, this is the first one they put out. Just came out today at 9 o'clock, so within the last 15 minutes. Mike Florio.
Boy, I wonder
with
what
the
we'd
Post.
do this segment if this didn't come out.
Well, no, you see this stuff, and you got to look at it and realize, like, this is interesting for the Lions because I don't think that last week Rashad Perriman, the wide receiver they brought in for visits. No, I don't want any part of it. Now, we haven't really talked about the potential for going for Danny Shelton. He's more of a nose tackle for people who aren't as familiar, and that would signify to me more of a switch to a 3-4.
Which we've already heard from the coaching staff that they're not doing.
And I've said I don't think it's the right move because I think Ziggy Ansah now becomes the guy you're trying to put in the right spot as a defensive end and not an outside. Be the pick. And in this mock draft, they don't have, they have Malcolm Brown going 9th. So once you can't
say goodbye to that.
Well, and that's what I said. The very first mock draft we saw, I hope he's there at 23, and he very well could go earlier than that. But I think you start to look at some other guys.
Who's the other guy? Eddie Goldson or what's
Eddie
his name?
Goldman. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that would still be on the board that you could take defense. You have to go defensive tackle still,
Florida
right?
State's got like 5 guys on their defensive line going in this first round.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Mario Edwards is one of those guys up there, and then you could even look Cameron Irving, who's an offensive lineman, used to play defensive line at Florida State.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought he played D-line at some point.
Yeah, he did. So Florida State's got loaded guys, but I think the point remains for me, I'm still firm in taking a defensive tackle, even though they brought in Haloti Ngata and they brought in I don't think so. I think you still have to go after that defensive tackle.
Yeah.
Over a wide receiver, over a running back.
I'm just getting re-aggravated with the offseason moves and lack of moves that this team made. I didn't think I had to go back and do this.
There is a need at wide receiver, though, right? Like, not early in the draft, but there is a need to find the third guy.
Is there really? Last season, you wouldn't need to go get a wide receiver.
No, but even if Ebron's good, right, who's your number 3 receiver?
Eric Ebron.
Well, he's your tight end.
You need 3 good receivers and a tight end that can catch the football?
No, I'm saying how many players are you going to have on the field? Are you going to be playing a fullback?
No.
So you're going to be playing 3 wide receivers and a tight end and a typical
wide receiver?
I would rather get a wide receiver. I'm talking like 6th, 7th round. I'm talking about
if
still
you
in need.
wanted to pull this take a wide receiver in the first round
No,
BS,
no.
I would literally leave the studio.
You just throw me out.
I would never do the show again.
No, they can't. They can't. But Malcolm Brown, if he's there, is my guy. We don't know if that's going to be the case. This Pro Football Focus or Pro Football has the Lions taking Danny Shelton. Is that the right pick? 9897. Chip chat on Twitter. And then, Brad, obviously, with the Tigers in the 6-0 start, we've talked about a number of things with why they've been so good, and everybody's focused on the offense. But I don't think we've given enough credence to what we've seen from the first three guys in the rotation, right? Because, I mean, David Price is David Price, and we've seen him twice. But Annabelle Sunday, Shane Green. Because I think you need 4 starting pitchers, and I don't know if people were considering Shane Green as one of those guys, but one start in, you saw why people think he can be one of those guys. He was great in the spring, high strikeouts, low walks, young arm, hasn't scratched the surface. I think wins, but he did show you what you're supposed to do. We can downplay beating the Twins, but they didn't just slightly beat the Twins. They blew out the Twins.
Oh, you blew out the Twins.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do, right?
Baseball.
Well, you should get the credit when you blow out the team you're supposed to. It shouldn't be looked upon as not an accomplishment. They didn't scrape by them. They smoked them.
Okay.
And then I think we have to talk about CMU baseball completing a sweep on Coke. This sweep, they only scored 3 runs
they
today.
underachieved today.
Only 3 runs after scoring 18 and 16 in the previous games this weekend against Eastern Michigan. Their bats have come alive, and I think it's interesting. It's right after that 16-inning game, the offense got out of control.
Yeah.
I mean, they came in that game and hammered home a ton of runs. They scored 14 runs in that game. I think they scored 14 in the middle of the week against digits against Oakland, double digits.
Yeah, I was on
both
the air
games
for that
this
game.
weekend.
It was like 4 hours long.
So they scored a ton of runs, double-digit runs in 4 of the last 5 games, and those are all after the 16-inning game. I don't know if something clicked. They started hitting well, and the whole hitting is contagious.
What about Zach Fields?
Yeah, he's showing some power now, and I've been saying over and over again, at some point he's going to make contact, and his swing's going to find out. The weather's starting to warm up, and I think there's no coincidence that the offense has picked up with that too.
Yeah, he had a home run on Friday, home run on Saturday. He's got some a guy with some pop from the left side of the plate.
And then the big thing, the offense is going to steal the storyline. The offense is going to be what people are talking about tomorrow and moving forward.
For CMU baseball?
For CMU baseball.
I was going to say, the pitching has been way better than I think anybody could have ever expected.
Well, let that injuries. Jason Gamble, the injury, boom, he's out of the pitching weekend rotation.
Boom, Sean Renzi inserted, 6 innings, strong.
Great. And then Leatherman, obviously the injury that forced Gamble back there, so they're already using the next guy in mentality. And then Adam Aldred, who was a midweek guy last week and wasn't going to be in the
last
weekends.
year.
Last year, is now a Sunday guy and has strung together 2 really good Sundays where, strikeouts are up, walks are down. He looks like a refreshed new guy, and it's almost like the opportunity. He's jumped right for it, and some guys aren't ready for it. He's been ready for it. I think that's one thing. You look at the offense. To me, the pitching. You lost Jordan Foley. You lost Pat Kaminska. You only had Nick Deega as your one solidified guy you love, but they've actually stepped up, even with injuries, and still have given you 3.
Absolutely ridiculous. He had one start where he gave up like 2-3 earned runs, and he's been shut down the rest of the way. His ERA is below 2, I believe.
Yeah, that whips south of 1.
Yeah.
The numbers are great.
And he's filthy, and he's just a sophomore.
He has to come back, Brad. He's not allowed to go pro. We get to see him a whole nother year.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking you go after 2, but you got to go after 3.
No, it's 3 years. So Deek's going to be back again next
sorry, Nick.
season.
Yeah. He's going to get paid.
Jordan Foley was not this good, and Jordan Foley went in the 5th round. We're talking Deeg.
Well, and Foley had a down junior.
That's true.
He had a down year before he went into the draft. If Deeg had the opportunity to leave now, could you imagine where he'd go?
Well, and talking to one scout,
like
the velocity continues to trend up, and he's in low 90s where we've heard he's around. Some people have said 1st round, pick or anything, but a guy that's in that 1st to 2nd round area, if he continues to put it together the way he is. And I think that's why whenever he's pitching on a Friday, if I don't have something going on, I like to head out and watch them, or if they're on the radio, I got to listen, because he is really special, and you only get some of these guys for as long as you do. He might be the best one to come through here, and that's saying a lot.
Which is crazy.
Because Josh Colemanter is in the majors throwing
and he's
the opening
number
day.
1 guy. Yeah. You heard from Opalewski Coach Hope the other day, 2 weeks ago, when we had the audio on.
Yep.
This is a guy who has MLB potential. Middle of the rotation guy.
Yeah, he even said, could he be a number 1, and said, why not?
Why not?
Why not? He could be. So it's been a combination of hitting and pitching. And now they're in first place alone by themselves so far, 10-2 in the MAC. That's giving them fits.
They can't lose, yeah.
And Kent State's also a team that everybody talks about perennially when you get in that MAC tournament.
One, Ball State's given Central Michigan trouble the last couple of years.
What was last year, it was at home.
Yeah.
And they swept CMU, which essentially just changed the tide of the division. I mean, that made Ball State the winners in the division. This year they're going to have to go to Ball State, and I think that's going to make it a lot harder, but far.
No doubt.
So you've got CMU baseball. We had the Loons baseball game. I want to give a shout out to Chris
gosh.
Vosters. Listen, it's a baseball-heavy day. If you weren't watching baseball, I don't believe you. You were at least watching the Tigers.
Look, I believe people if you weren't watching baseball. Baseball kind of sucks, all right? But
it was like 2 hours
I
to get
tuned
3
in from
innings.
the 7th to the 9th inning and
Yeah, it was nearly 2 hours for 3 innings.
Unbelievable.
Minor league baseball games go much faster, though. I don't know why it's in the majors, because college baseball games
take forever.
But not as long as some of these major league games. We've
I
only had a
know.
couple games that have gone over 3 hours. And then in minor league baseball games aren't either. Why are the baseball
We've
games?
talked about the ways you can improve the pace of play in baseball. Just calling some of these games for Central Michigan. I mean, pitching changes are absolutely absurd. You have the guy who takes the slow walk out to the mound to try to get as many pitches out of the bullpen as possible to make sure they're ready. He gets out to the mound. He BS's for 3 minutes in the air. You get the bullpen guy. He walks his way to the mound. He needs 10 warm-up pitches, and then the batter needs to warm up even longer. We're breaking for something else, and 5 minutes goes by, and there you have a final pitching change. And then guess what? He gets an out, and you're making another 5-minute pitching change. Can we quicken those things up a little bit?
Well, I think that's part of the pace of play stuff you're seeing at AA and AAA.
Yeah.
And I want to see how how much faster they are. But like I even heard today on the broadcast for the Loons, they had a batter who wasn't stepping out of the batter's box because if you do have success, you're going to move up, and those rules are in place. They're not in place at the single A level. So if you watch the Loons this season, if you head out to Dow Diamond, you're not going to see the pitch clocks implemented at that level. But I do think that it's something specifically about the majors. And I don't know if it's once guys get up there and you get to continue to step out more, and they have to check their
Yoenis
stance.
Cespedes is a guy who does it a good.
What were you saying? It took him like 25 minutes to take an at bat the other day.
It wasn't 25 minutes, but he
check
would
swing slow one time.
Like the pitcher,
swing
the pitcher
slow
would
2
be set.
times.
The pitcher would be set for the Indians, and Cespedes would still be out of the batter's box. Get in the batter's box, bud.
Is it just a culture thing that once you've got
Whatever the
to
heck
you moment,
sure.
you could, I don't know what it is, but everybody takes much longer.
I hate it, and I hate baseball for it.
We're going to get it out, Brad. That pitch clock's going to come in there slowly but surely, and we're going to phase that out of the game, and people are going to be able to watch. Yeah. It's going to be great. Someday it'll be here.
It's going to be great.
I think the average age of a baseball viewer is like in his 50s. Going into the season,
they're
that
dead.
was the
I
stat.
think the average viewer is dead.
In the 50s. That's hard. I'm watching a lot of games, yet there are so many older people that the average age is 50. That means there are people 60 and 70 that are slugging that number all the way up.
My grandma's the biggest Tigers fan there is. She won't miss a game. She called me
Case in
today.
point.
She said, "How did I miss the Tigers game today?" I said, "I don't know, Grandma. I don't know what you're doing with yourself." But apparently she missed the game. She was all disappointed about it.
Well, if she did, she could have caught all the other baseball games going on across. What was your impression? You didn't get to see him, obviously, but you listened to the game on the radio. I
want to hear from Grant Holmes, who's their big stud in the Dodgers system.
He's going to pitch the next game, right?
He should be pitching tomorrow. They're down in West Michigan, taking on West Michigan.
The
down
Fighting Dan Hasties?
Yeah, the Fighting Dan Hasties.
Of course, CMU grad calling the games for them over on their network.
Formerly of 97 The Ticket down in Detroit.
Formerly
right here.
So he's calling their games. But, yeah, that's a fun series for the people that have gone out
down
there
in
this weekend.
Comstock Park, Michigan. Still have not figured out where that is exactly, how far away it is from Grand Rapids, but it's somewhere around that area.
But Grant Holmes, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching him.
Yeah.
Because he's the fourth prospect in their system.
Well, the Loons today, it was pitching that really got
5-1 win.
Yep. J.D. Underwood out of the pen for them. 2 innings pitched, scoreless, retired. Yadir Drake. And obviously, this is a lot of information that you and I and producer Matt are the only ones that care about. But Yadir Drake, the dad of the team that we talked about, 25 years old, making his pro debut today.
Yeah.
Got the first RBI of the season for the Loons today. He got the start, and he was the one who made the play to drive home Jacob Scavuzzo for the first run of the game.
Well, good. Now there'll be at least one. People are still learning learning this team, and they'll get to know him throughout the summer. But everybody's got some kind of scouting report. This guy was signed from Cuba like a year ago, and nobody knows anything about him. So it's good that he's actually able to contribute. Now we start to figure out more about him. But
yes.
It's going to be a jam-packed summer of baseball, man.
It will be, and we'll be on the air obviously during the summer. And
Brad, there's one. It was a vague reference we made earlier, but
and I don't want Central Michigan people to jump out of their dorm rooms right now if they're listening in their dorm rooms and running to the WMHW studio to chop my head off because I'm giving some credit to Western Michigan.
Whoa,
take it easy.
Credit when we talk about Western Michigan,
right? No, I want to give some credit to the Broncos down in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Okay, and going on, but this has to do with the football team and PJ Fleck. He, of course, got an extension similar to the Keno Davis extension that we talked about earlier on in the show, but there's some credit that needs to be handed to the Broncos. Even if you're a Chippewa fan, you can acknowledge what he's doing down there in Kalamazoo. I'll tell you what it is next. Radio 91.5.
You rock out with us on the radio, More Rock Radio, from our website, anywhere and everywhere, on WMHW.org. More Rock Radio 91.5.
At the karaoke bar, Greg shows the telltale signs of being wasted. First off, he tells the waitress she can be his backup singer. Greg singer. He takes another shot and realizes he's not sitting with his buddy. Then he spends an hour searching for the perfect song in the food menu. On stage, he can't read the lyrics on the monitor. He explains to everyone that he can't read sides to freestyle rap. He keeps repeating the line, boy. The power is cut, and Greg offers to sign autographs out back.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many to drive, but what if you've had just one too many to drive? Never underestimate just a few. Buzz Driving service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Are you by a computer? Then check out WMHW.org and click that More Rock Radio button. You can listen live to us anywhere you have the internet. On the go or at the office, you can find out about upcoming local shows and events. WMHW.org has you covered. Log on and check up on your favorites you want. So keep it tuned here to WMHW.org and More Rock Radio 91.5. With Facebook having over 500 million users, my guess is that you're using it right now. So what are you waiting for? Search WMHW More Rock Radio 91.5 and hit that like button so you can stay up to date with every giveaways and special insider information only available when you subscribe. Keep it tuned here from 95 till now, More Rock Radio 91.5.
Programming on More Rock Radio 91.5 is brought to you by Microchips. Microchips is an Apple-authorized campus store providing students with computers, software located on the lower level of the Bovee University Center. Orders can be placed in-store, online at cmubookstore.com, or by phone at 989-774-1185. WMHW would like to thank Microchips for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5. Support for programming on More Rock Radio Store. Located in the Bovee University Center on the north end of campus, the CMU Bookstore provides students with Central Michigan apparel and school supplies, including textbooks. Orders can also be placed online at cmubookstore.com or by calling 989-774-7493. WMHW would like to thank the CMU Bookstore for their support.
Support for WMHW comes from the Village at Bluegrass, 4300 Collegiate Way in Mount Pleasant. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom furnished apartments alongside a member fitness center, indoor basketball court, outdoor pool, tanning beds, and a campus shuttle. More info at villageatbluegrass.com or by calling 888-4. The Village at Bluegrass donates to WMHW.
Missing something? How about more rock right now? More Rock Radio 91.5.
All right, before we went to break, I talked about, Central Michigan guys not coming to the studios and trying to attack me for trying to give credit to Western Michigan. And it has to do with the football program down with P.J. Fleck, obviously. If I gave any credit to the basketball program that plays in that absolutely awful gym down in Kalamazoo, then there'd be a difference. But the football program tweets into the show a good bit. Brian just texted me the other day and goes, "Hey, have you seen the recruiting class for Western Michigan?" I said, no, I don't frequently check on that. It's not something I wake up every morning and check on. But so I went and took a look at it. And 247 Sports with CBS Sports, I think it's the best recruiting site for college football and college basketball, or whatever the heck you want to use. 274sports.com has some of the best recruiting information. And Western Michigan, as of yesterday, was 13th in the country for football in their recruiting class. They're down to 14th today. 11 three-star recruits. And as a comparison, Central Michigan this season had what, one?
Sure. We'll say one.
One. And it could have been zero, depending on some of the sites they use, like you mentioned. Western Michigan has 11 already, and this is for the class of 2016. Now, Western Michigan, a program that we've obviously talked about many times here on this show during the football season, as being an up-and-comer with P.J. Fleck. P.J. Fleck, one of the best in the country. He's fast-tracked to where he is right now. They gave him the extension. Who knows how long he's going to be there, but with this class that they have in place right now, just to give you some of the names that they're ahead of, they have a better class right now than Alabama, a better class than Florida, a better class than Michigan, a better class than Auburn, a better class than Texas. They are absolutely doing. They're the 14th class according to 247sports.com, and that includes star recruit wide receiver. You got another kid from down in the Macomb area, Claiborne. He's from Chippewa Valley High School. He's a 3-star recruit cornerback. Some sites have him as a 4-star recruit. So he's building some momentum down there with P.J. Fleck, and it got me to thinking, and it's something that I've thought about many times. In Michigan, BCS berth. Is it crazy? And I don't think it is.
Next year?
Not next year. A year from now, so a year removed. So it'd be in
So after Fleck's already left and gone somewhere else?
Well, that's the thing. Just like with Keno Davis has a lot of talent with his program right now, he's got one more year before all those seniors graduate. So it makes sense for Keno to leave after next year. It would make sense for P.J. Fleck to the following season. His quarterback, Zach Terrell, is going to be a junior next year, so he's got a full year in him. Javarian Franklin, going to be a sophomore next season. Corey Davis, Titus Davis' younger brother, probably the best wide receiver returning in the MAC next season, is going to be a junior as well. You have Terrell, Davis, Franklin. Those three guys on the offensive end give you the best offense in the MAC, hands down already. You add a defense that was number 2 in the MAC, I believe, this season behind Central Michigan. They had a top defense as well. P.J. Fleck's going to continue to build that up. But I don't think it's crazy to start talking about this team as a BCS berth team down in Kalamazoo. You're going to have all those guys being seniors. Franklin's going to be the junior. You're going to have this recruiting class of 2016 where maybe you have a couple of true freshmen that can star guys that they're looking at. Western Michigan right now with 11 3-star recruits, there are only 4 teams in the country, 4 programs in the country with that many recruits, counting 3, 4, and 5 stars. Only 4 teams in the country. They're right there 5th. Now, obviously, this is really early in the process. I mean, all these guys are verbal commits at this point, and if Fleck jumps ships next season, now you can start to look at next season with Terrell, Davis, Franklin. Next year, they're going to be really good. They might go undefeated in the MAC next season. Now, they have tough road games in the non-conference, Ohio State and Michigan State, 2 losses, right? But you take a look at their schedule for 2016, the season where I say that they could potentially make it to a BCS Bowl. We saw NIU do it out of the MAC at 12 in Bowl. In 2016, Western Michigan could be a team that goes undefeated. At Northwestern, at Illinois, and Georgia Southern at home. 3 very winnable games in the non-conference. You had a MAC schedule that they're going to be the favorite in every single game in conference play. Look, if they go 12-0 during the regular season, NIU that season fell at Ford Field in the conference championship. Goes 12-1 and even loses a conference game, they're going to be in the discussion for a BCS Bowl. I think P.J. Fleck has them right there.
So a couple things. If you're going to tell me in 2 years they're going to be in a BCS Bowl.
I think that's big news for a MAC team to be in a BCS Bowl. Don't sit here and downplay this.
No, I just think it's too early to say any of that.
But recruiting class got me thinking. That's why.
Well, sure. And if you want to take one thing and make it lead to another and another and another, even said, this recruiting class, how many of these guys are going to sign
Probably
elsewhere?
not many.
Well, but like you said, they're verbals.
Signing elsewhere, yeah.
Right. So when these guys continue to have the success they're having and somebody else steps in, you said he's out recruiting Harbaugh right now.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you trying to say? I mean, you don't think Harbaugh's going to end up surpassing that recruiting class?
No, they will. It's early in the process,
Yes.
and a lot of these schools will be there. But I think once you have this momentum, or it's more than that's like second in the country in terms of 3-star guys right now.
So you talked about giving credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
I will give them credit for being good last year on the field, and I will say I expect them to be good on the field next year.
Okay.
I will give them no credit for these players on paper that have yet to play a game of college football.
Okay, I'm the same way as you. I don't like stars. I don't want any star power. Give some credit where credit is due, though.
For the on-field success, I
you're
will
unbelievable.
give the credit. If these players come in and are good and he recruited them, he will get the credit. He doesn't get credit for 17-year-olds who haven't signed and haven't played, and that's going to get him into a BCS before. That's why this is way ahead of yourself. Listen, I can give some credit, and that's hard that he's built in the short time he's done it.
Okay.
But I'm not making the crazy leap that you expect people to make, that they can enter fantasy land with you over in this BCS berth for this MAC school.
I don't even like the Western Michigan.
You're one of them now. I'm sorry.
I'm one of them, huh? Am I one of them because I picked them against Central this season and then also picked them in one of the basketball games as well?
I don't know what it is.
No, you
Brad.
give me a hard time.
I don't know what it is, but that's good. People have got your back.
You got my back.
There is one thing I did want to say. Go ahead, Adam. What was it?
No, I was going to say there's still time for people to bust on the door.
Well, and then there's something that you said earlier in the show that makes you look pretty stupid when you consider what Jordan Spieth did.
Makes me look stupid.
Yeah, very stupid.
About what?
Rip this guy's behavior.
I didn't rip him. I'm just saying in the tournaments that I've seen him in the past, I haven't really liked.
He's carried himself.
Okay, what do you got a quote here from like Jesus that says he's awesome or what?
But Jordan Spieth did something upon receiving his green jacket that goes exactly against what Brad Tunney said earlier, and we'll tell you what that is next on Chip Chat.
This is
More
stupid.
Rock Radio 91.5.
More rock is never a bad thing. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our domain 91.5.
Special Olympics Michigan, let me win. But if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
Special Olympics Michigan is headquartered on the campus of Central Michigan University. 18,600 athletes all around the state. Our athletes are children and adults with intellectual disabilities. Our programs give them the opportunity to participate in up to nearly 24 sports.
There's a lot of different Special Olympics volunteer opportunities that we have throughout the year. Everything from state event volunteers, which are our larger events. Come cheer on the athletes. You can keep score. You can help measure certain event. For ways to get involved with that in order to actually work with the athletes and coach them.
Special Olympics worldwide has grown to reach out to 3.5 million athletes in over 180 countries.
If you would like to help the Special Olympics Michigan, please contact us at 989-774-3911.
Comes from the Village at Bluegrass, 4300 Collegiate Way in Mount Pleasant. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom furnished apartments alongside a member fitness center, indoor basketball court, outdoor pool, tanning beds, and a campus shuttle. More info at villageatbluegrass.com or by calling 888-412-9024. The Village at Bluegrass.
Support for programming on More Rock Radio 91.5 comes from the CMU Bookstore. Located in the Bovey University Center on the north end of campus, the CMU Bookstore provides students with Central Michigan apparel and school supplies, including textbooks. Orders can also be placed online at cmubookstore.com or by calling 949-3. WMHW would like to thank the CMU Bookstore for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
Support for WMHW comes from CM Life, Central Michigan University's student-operated newspaper. CM Life strives to present balanced, accurate coverage of events affecting the CMU community. Located in Moore Hall on CMU's campus, students are reporting, editing, graphic arts, and more. CM Life is distributed throughout the CMU campus and businesses throughout Mount Pleasant. as well as cmlife.com, where they can be contacted. WMHW would like to thank CM Life for their support of More Rock Radio 91.5.
Programming on More Rock Radio 91.5 is brought to you by Microchip Campus Store, providing students with computers, software, and accessories. Microchips is located on the lower level of the Bovee University Center. Orders can be placed in-store, online at cmubookstore.com, or by phone at 989-774-1185. WMHW would like to thank Microchips for their support of More Rock Radio 90.
Keep it locked for all things rock. More Rock Radio 91.5.
Jordan Teen under, youngest guy to win it, second youngest guy to win it anyway, wins it at 28, carried himself on the golf course.
I didn't watch him this weekend. I'm just saying in the one tournament I've watched.
You spoke negatively of the way he carried himself on the golf course, right?
Unbelievable.
Well, there was something that was brought to my attention in that last segment. Wanted to make sure we came back with it. Jordan Spieth gets the green jacket, this 21-year-old, huge moment of his life. What's one of the first things he does? He volunteers. He thanks the grounds crew.
Induct this guy into sainthood. Take him to the Vatican.
How can you look at that and not say he's carrying himself the right way? That is carrying yourself with a lot of class. That's humble. That's getting there in your biggest moment and still thanking people that nobody thinks to consider any of those people. And Jordan Spieth does it.
I don't get why this matters.
The way that he carries himself.
Mock him.
You were throwing
I said
him
there was
under the
one
bus.
instance where I didn't like the way he carried himself after he missed a putt. It was literally just a comment I made, and you guys are blowing it out of proportion.
You definitely made more of a statement than that.
Unbelievable.
Handled everything with high class.
Well, good for him.
Good. That's a good thing for golf. And we shouldn't be, all he's done is operate under his best behavior in his professional career. All right? Yet you wouldn't throw anything at Tiger Woods.
I'm not going to compliment
You wouldn't
the guy
throw
for
anything
acting the way he should.
Not everybody does this. We should recognize this. When you do nice things, you should get compliments.
You're supposed to when you're supposed to ask classy.
Everybody, okay. So everybody does underneath them that do the thankless
Jim,
jobs.
how much do you really care that he thanked these food
No,
people?
I just think it's great
Or are
because
you just putting it up front.
No, I think it is good that he did it.
Oh, this is stupid.
You don't think this is a good thing that he did?
It's great, but I don't think it's
good.
like I don't think it's like, oh, Jordan Spieth.
Well, I wouldn't be bringing it up unless you did character assassination 35 minutes ago in there to clear the guy's name. Because you're painting him in a completely different light. All you have to do is say, listen, maybe I didn't see enough of him. He appears to be a very nice young man.
I haven't seen enough of the guy.
And he appears to be a very nice young man.
Sure.
All right, there we go. It's out there in the open. And then, obviously, we've talked about a heavy baseball day. And specifically, one thing I know with minor league baseball starting up, Brad, you've been seeing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Gimmicky, interesting nights that people have done. I think there's some funny or goofy or wacky ones out there that have drawn your attention.
Well, today, Joey Pancake, a guy in the Detroit Tigers farm system, he plays at Single A Whitecaps with Westman. He was in the game today, obviously, against the Loons, and we were listening to the whole thing. Joey Pancake has his own concession stand food down at Comstock Park. It's a pancake with pulled pork on top of the pancake, another pancake, so it's a pulled pork pancake, Pankake.
No, I'm just looking for the thing. Go ahead.
Okay. But it's topped with pulled pork, barbecue sauce, bacon, and syrup. Are you eating that?
I'm not a huge, loads of syrup on my pancakes, but I would eat, everything on that's good.
It's the pulled pork.
Where's this at?
It's
the home of the Whitecaps.
The home of the Whitecaps. I don't know what their. I can't think of their.
I'm gonna go there after the show. That sounds lovely.
Seriously, pancakes with
yeah.
Ballpark. It doesn't fit the traditional.
It's weird. You have to get a paper plate and get a fork with it because you're not eating that by itself. So that's one of the things. And I think you scroll through Twitter, and I follow MILB, obviously minor league baseball communications or whatever, and they just tweet out everything that's random. And if you follow Darren Ravel, he tweets out a lot of this stuff as well when he sees it. Darren Ravel just Darren, for minor league baseball, when they have concession stand foods, when they do different promotional ideas. And for the Loons this season, not a ton of great promotional stuff, but we have a Back to the Future Day where a real DeLorean will be in Dow Diamond, so they'll have a DeLorean there. And I think with minor league baseball, they do this so they get that recognition, right? Brewers AA team, they're going to go on a right.
That because of some
their ballparks under construction.
55 road games in a row.
That's tough. Hotel to hotel.
Yeah, they're the Biloxi Shuckers, the AA affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah,
55 games in the Southern League.
So there's that. I mean, there's a lot of different things. There's another team. I can't think of it right now. I can't think of it, but the team with jelly filled and then topped with bacon. It's like a bacon hot dog in a donut bun.
Aren't the Tigers not minor league thing? Aren't they doing this deviled egg on like a bacon thing? I mean, like there's some different things.
I don't
out
do
there
deviled eggs. Don't do them,
especially at the ballpark.
That's
I don't think
crazy.
that's a good mix. Pancakes in general at the ballpark's not a great fit.
No,
though.
tough. Bull Durham. Here's a minor league ballpark that it installed get homegrown craft brew at the ballpark. Many different things.
That's one thing I do like about minor league baseball.
Here's another minor league team. They're throwing a princess-themed birthday party for their pig mascot. It's a live pig that they're going to put a tiara on and have a birthday party at the stadium.
Who gains
That's
anything
just
from
degrading
that?
for the pig.
Who's going? Who's circling that date?
I don't know. Party at the ballpark.
I would not know.
That would not be something you'd go to?
That would not draw me there for any other reason than the baseball.
Okay, how about this? Cal Ripken's minor league team will wear autism awareness jerseys. It's going to be a Superman, like, you know how Superman pulls his chest out? It's going to have a Superman logo in the middle of the jersey, and that's like on the jersey. So they'll have like a ripped jersey with Superman logo in the middle.
I can get behind that. That's cool. Like for every Wednesday they would wear it? Does
Every
it have, like, camels
Wednesday there's
on
a
it?
minor league team that's going to have minor league team will wear hump day camel jerseys. The front of the jersey is a camel's face staring at you, and then the back of it is the camel's butt.
That's But that's one thing I like about minor league baseball.
Yeah,
Some of it's
they
hit
can
and
do
miss.
all this stuff.
Some of it's hit and miss ideas. I think it's, if you're like a marketing person, I think it's like the ultimate chance to just throw stuff out there and see
And
what
that's a
sticks.
AAA team. That's up there.
Well, you think about it, some of these guys that want to go into that and want to be like, big time marketing people with professional teams,
Yeah.
at the minors, like, they have to make a splash. So I think you really get some of these interesting, unique things, different ballparks throughout the summer.
Well, we talk about the MAC being a people, in athletic communications. How about minor league baseball? And we see it all the time. And for broadcasters, for managers, for players, and for those marketing guys as well. These are hump day uniforms. Actually, it looks like they're only going to wear them on July 1st. So that's Wednesday, July 1st. The team name that's doing this are the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Iron Pigs.
Yeah, the Iron Pigs, the Philadelphia Phillies AAA team.
Huge fan of the Iron Pigs.
Here's the Diamondback.
That's an affiliate of the Diamondbacks?
No, that's the Diamondbacks.
Oh, the Diamondbacks.
No more minor league
themselves.
stuff here. They sold 1,000 churros.
That's not like a gimmick. That's just something they sold. And do they normally sell churros?
Oh, no, that's the churro hot dog. Have you seen that?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I've
yes.
seen that.
It's a trinky bun with ice cream on top, caramel, and hot.
These elaborate
Those
things,
are
but
great.
you have to start to think about the guy at the seat. Like, how are you eating
guy
a lot
with
of these
diabetes?
items? No,
Yeah.
at his seat. How do you eat all of this
Oh.
food when it's like dripping onto your lap and in your hands, and you have to take the entire napkin container with you to your seat? That's the only thing you got to be thinking about. Is the guy on the internet?
See, I'm a little girl when it comes to trying to make a mess when I eat. I'm not making a mess.
Sure, then you're going to be turned off to all this, or you're going to buy it, then realize immediately it was a terrible
Well,
idea.
the churro dog is something that I would get behind even with a mess.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the item. You got to be thinking about people, though. Like the Joey pancake. If it's
No, that's stupid.
gobbled in syrup, and how do you even eat? You have a fork. You're sitting in the ballpark with a fork.
So you're
Oh, there's barbecue sauce on it?
Well, the pulled pork has like sauce in it.
I don't know. That's not a great flavor combo.
It's not syrup and barbecue sauce. It's like bacon or sausage with syrup, right?
I don't know. I don't like it now. I like it a lot less than when you brought it up.
Really?
But I think it's cool because that stuff really brings people out, and I think that's going to be one thing that we'll read a lot more about this summer is minor league stuff and goofy, like monkeys riding, like little, I forget what they were riding, but what were sheep. They had monkeys riding sheep or goats at
Is that more
ballparks.
degrading than the pig scenario?
I mean, that's at least they're doing something. If I just throw a tiara on a pig, that's not really. Oh, we have a great ceremony coming up in the 4th. We're gonna put a crown on a pig. At least this is like there's movement, there's a race, there's pogo team.
Pogo squad or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to come at some point this summer because they couldn't come on opening day.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of the different things with minor league baseball.
Yeah, they're great. How about Katie Nolan? I see her on your Twitter feed right now. She's obviously got a new show coming out.
Yeah, that's on Sunday nights with everything else. They can't jam enough stuff on Sunday nights, Brad. We're competing with every network show on the planet, every sports show on the planet, but we've re-terrained the entire sports landscape. Heavy baseball show today, and it's only going to get bigger throughout the summer.
Catch us next week, 7 to 10. Chip Chat, More Rock Radio 91.5.
More Rock is never a bad thing. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Our domain